Packed and ready?
Oh, yeah.
Driving, flying? What are we doing?
Flying to Baltimore, taking the train to D.C., because that saved me $500. And then driving to Maryland, driving to Pittsburgh, flying home. There's a lot going on in this trip, David.
So you're doing D.C. over the weekend?
D.C., leaving on the 4th for Maryland for 2 days out the lake, and then finishing in Pittsburgh for 2 days. It's supposed to rain Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Pretty excited.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you, average Vikings fan in my neck of the woods. Where are you in northern Michigan? Are you literally on the interstate? Saw a picture of the Mackinac Bridge yesterday. You could barely see it because the smoke from the Canadian wildfires are covering it so badly.
Thank you, Ambient. Morning, average Vikings fan. How far north's the Indian River?
North.
From the gym.
Is the bridge even open, Vikings fan? I'm guessing the bridge is closed with all that smoke, but maybe not.
Are you in the gym, Rick, or are you supervising others in the gym?
Ah, see, it's Mackinac City.
Wish it was spelled that way.
Oh, wow.
Oh, good for you, Rick. $3:30, man. Whoo-wee.
If I did that, I might get in shape.
You also might kill yourself. Yeah, I know. How about that? Well, see, he knew the game plan.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It's not just the last Friday of June, it's the last day of June. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Hope your week has gone well, and thanks for ending it with us, so to speak. Mini break from Miller and Moulton. Best of shows Monday and Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday, although not all of us. Some of us, they're world travelers. World travelers. In fact, if you look closely enough on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv broadcast, I think you can see luggage behind Mark Miller.
I thought you were going to say you could see that Mark Miller's already checked out.
Well, I knew that. I come on. We've been married on the radio, so to speak, for over 15 years. If you don't think that I knew that you were going to be here physically only today, you're crazy.
And I wake up very easily. This morning shift, for as long now as we have done it, has bothered David much more than it bothers me as far as the hour of the day getting up.
But only until about 5:58 a.m. Then I'm all in.
But I know we've talked about it, that you wake up 3:30, 4 o'clock, whenever it is, 4:30 someday, between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, we pretty much are up. And I jump out of bed and I'm ready to go. I get the coffee made and I'm ready. This morning, because we had to pack yesterday. We're leaving shortly after the show.
And by shortly, I think he means 10:04.
And it started with, I tried to bring the little suitcase and the big suitcase, but there's 3 of us. We're gone for 9 days.
Right.
2 women.
Right.
You can't do that with a big suitcase and a little suitcase.
So you need 2 big ones.
2 big ones.
Right. Yeah, they each get a suitcase. Now you can keep the little one for you, because otherwise there's not enough room in the back to, head to the airport. So that's why you got to jam your stuff in a little suitcase, but they each get a big one.
Now we did it with 2 big ones because I am an efficient packer. It's one of the things I'm in charge of. Like you're in charge of laundry in your house, David.
Right.
When it comes times to packing, clothes are just put and folded on the bed and it's left for me. Because my wife just stuffs things in there.
Spatial relations. I don't know what it is. They're not good at it.
Dishwashers.
I mean, I'd put them in charge of the world. I really would, but spatial relations, no.
You're absolutely. So the last thing you have to pack is your toiletries. Well, obviously we both need those this morning to get ready. So there are 2 open suitcases lying on the floor, and nothing like getting up at 3:45 in the morning, having to dodge suitcases just to make your way to the bathroom. And that's my fear last night going to sleep was, am I going to wake up in the middle of the night and trip and kill myself over a suitcase?
Well, okay. The cuts have healed. All right. The bruises don't look too bad. So it'll be okay.
It will. After what was, for me, a glorious midweek sports day yesterday.
And why is that?
Rays played at 3:40. Marlins played at 6:30, I think it was, or 6 o'clock or whatever the hell it was.
One right into the other.
Oh, it was just fantastic.
And he could be asleep by 9 o'clock. Look at you, old man.
Sneaking a little Rocket Mortgage Open and a little bit of the Senior Open after that. I was in heaven yesterday.
Wow. You watched the Champions Tour. You really were cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Man, oh, man. But so Marlins didn't have a hit until the 8th inning. It's like, holy man, are we going to follow up a perfect game with a no-hitter? But see, you asked the question yesterday, at what point when you're at the perfect game, or even if you're watching the perfect game, if you're like rooting for, the team that's getting perfected, so to speak, do you just say, I got to root for the perfect game? I mean, my team's got, 161 other chances to win. I got to root for the perfect game here. And I think it's once you get to, first off, I think it depends on the score of the game. Like the Yankees were up 8-0 going to the 9th. So, come on. 7th inning, 8th at the latest. If you're an Oakland A's fan, you got to be rooting for perfection here. I think at the top of the 7th, the guy goes through the lineup twice, hasn't allowed a base runner. You get to the 7th inning, it's like, okay, let's see if we can do this. I mean, I told you that, we were talking earlier this week about, like the best things. Did we ever broadcast a historic event? And remember, I in my 20 years doing FGCU sports, the University of Miami came to play FGCU in Fort Myers, and it was a midweek game, and their number 5 starter had a perfect game through 7. A perfect game. Perfect game through 7. And he took him out because, pitch limit and all that, and he was at, close to 110 pitches. Perfect. And this was when there was more than 20 rounds in the draft. This kid was like a 35th round draft pick. And he obviously said no and went to play at the University of Miami. He was not considered a prospect. I mean, if you're a midweek starter, and he was a fifth-year senior also. Fifth-year senior's got a perfect game through 7. And he took him out. And I was incredulous. First off, if I was the player, I would have been arrested. I mean, the head coach had tried to take me out of the game. I got a perfect game going. And he tells me, well, you throw too many pitches. Really? They haven't hit one of them. Okay, you got to be kidding me. I mean, can I at least stay in until somebody gets on base? How about that, Skip? Can we make that deal? It's kind of how I would feel as a fan. But last night, it's scoreless. I mean, hell, it was almost double no-nos.
Right. 1 hit on one side, 0 on the other.
Into the 7th. It's 7th inning stretch time. We had 1 hit in the game. So when it was
a fat pitch softball game.
Right. Jenny Finch on the hill. So if you're a Marlins fan, you can't be rooting for the Red Sox guy to throw a no-hitter. The game's scoreless. Now, if Boston had gotten up like 3-0 or 4-0, I mean, where did Boston have to get to in order for you, if you were rooting for the Marlins, to go, well, we can, we can hope this kid finishes this sucker off?
4.
4? Okay. But then, Marlins leading off the 8th, base hit, infield single, and then, then another hit on top of it. And it's like, oh, well, hell, we're going to win this game. Hell with this kid and his no-no. Now we got to tag this sucker with a loss. And the Marlins did just that. Marlins are winning the World Series.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. There's only 2 other times in franchise history they've been 14 games over 500, 1997 and 2003. Mark, how'd those seasons end up?
They won the World Series. The problem is Miami is not a championship city this year. It is a runner-up city.
Damn, that's right. Congratulations, the Rays are winning the World Series.
Don't even get me started about how incredible that would be.
Rays
Marlins World Series.
And by incredible, we mean south of I-4.
Oh, maybe.
Well, yeah.
That's true. By that time, they would be in. Not for the first round of the playoffs, but by the time the World Series comes, both fan bases might actually be in.
Yeah, I think the Rays fan base are in now. And hell, would the Marlins draw like 17,000 for a game last homestand? I mean,
wow.
Yeah, the place is jumping, baby.
They're going to get a big reception when they come home from this road trip. I can guarantee you that.
What do you think this is?
What's a great reception?
At least 20,000.
That's not a great reception.
For the Marlins, it's a great reception.
Well, I'll tell you, it's July 4th, holiday also. I would hope that they're going to, because they come home after Sunday. They play in Atlanta this weekend, and then they come home.
They play St. Louis on Monday, yeah.
Okay, here's what I want to see, Felipe, and I'm not getting. Mark, you got the schedule in front of you?
I'm getting it.
Okay, I believe a week from tonight, they start a 3-game series with the Phillies.
Yes.
At home.
Yes, they do.
Okay, and now, in all seriousness, that I want to see some people that. First off, it's the last series before the All-Star break, and they're battling the Phillies for the playoffs. All right, I want to see 20,000 for 3 nights.
Look, they could get 20,000 for the Cardinals and Phillies series all the way through, because they'll get a bunch of Cardinals fans for the Cardinals games, and they'll get a bunch of Philly fans for the Philly games. Those are 2 teams that draw well. The Cardinals spring training is very close, is in that range. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do, but it's not going to be all Marlins fans.
I think it'll be more Marlins fans. That's what I'm saying.
Gee, I hope so.
I think that they'll get a warm reception from their fans. And I think that they'll come out, and I think that they'll draw 20,000 at least.
I have to admit, Felipe, you sounded like, a warm reception. It's kind of like the high school or college team that like flies back into the airport after having a very nice tournament.
Well, they're having a pretty great road trip right now.
I understand that, but it just sounded cute. I think they're going to get a big reception. And then all of a sudden I was picturing about 43 people with signs greeting him at the airport. It's like, way to go, team.
Fins up. Flip
Wild card run, baby.
Flip the M.
That type of sign. But, Rays and Marlins both winning yesterday. That happened? The Rays and Marlins winning on the same day seemingly happened like 11 times all of last year. Now, it seems like it happened 11 times in June.
The Marlins have a sub-3 ERA for the month of June.
That's pretty good.
No one else in baseball did it.
No. The one thing I will say about that, if you just think that that's a harbinger of things to come, do you know who has the fourth worst ERA in June? The Cincinnati Reds. So if you're looking for a team that kind of got on a little bit of a roll, but you think it might want to be fool's gold, all right, might be our beloved Where You Going to Go Reds. Their ERA in June's over 5, and yet they're winning.
Yeah, their starting pitching's awful, but they have been crushing the baseball.
Unfortunately for the Marlins, who's gotten their act together? The Phillies. Had the second best ERA in June?
The Phillies.
Right. Who got the third best ERA in June? The Rays.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah. Boy, when we get that Sunshine Series playing for Orange Juice, bunch of 2-1, 3-2 games.
Be a hell of a World Series.
Sure will. And 174 people north of I-4 would watch it, too. That would be so poorly rated, Fox may just give up baseball. In fact, after the LCSs, Fox may just say to ESPN, you guys want this? Nah, you can have it. Honestly, we're good. We got a lot of football to broadcast.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I have not seen what's going on in France. .
Yeah, I have. I haven't paid that much attention to it, though. I haven't paid that much attention to anything.
What's going on?
A couple of young people were killed. A young guy was shot. They're protesting all over the country.
Was it the immigration protests?
No.
No.
It was over a teenager being shot and killed by police.
Oh. I think I know what you're talking about.
This guy sent out a tweet saying that Jazz Chisholm is oozing so much confidence it's leaking over into the rest of the team. They've been a different team since he's been back. He came back 3 days ago.
Thank you.
Felipe, did you see the news about Jaylen Brown?
No.
So they reconfigured the salary cap, and there was a slight increase as to what they thought it was going to be. And since the max contract is based on percentage of the cap, all right, he can now be offered 5 years instead of 5 for $295. He can be offered 5 for $307.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's 61.4 a year. Doug Gottlieb had the best response to that. That's cool. Just don't ask him to sign with his left hand.
Funny.
Actually, if you're paying somebody $61 million a year, I would like him to be able to go to his left.
God. Jaylen Brown has made the 25th best player in the NBA. $307 million.
Oh, you can't pay your second best player $307 million. I'm sorry.
That's what you just said he's worth.
No, that's what he can get. I'm just saying, if that doesn't mean they have to offer it to him, by the way.
What if Houston offered it to him?
Good. Let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go.
It's crazy.
UCF announced their homecoming game against West Virginia is already sold out. So first Big 12 game, Baylor sold out. Homecoming, which is the weekend, cocktail party weekend, end of October, West Virginia, sold out.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. It's not just Friday and the final Friday of June, it's the final day of June. How about that? Magic numbers 57, 62, 69, 8 weeks tomorrow. Week 0, college football season. 9 weeks yesterday, week 1 of the college football season. Which, Mark, right there, that shows you how unique college football is. Not only is it an opinion-based sport, the only one in the country like that, although I guess gymnastics, figure skating, you could say, are opinion-based. Judges, what do you think? I'm thinking a 9.7. But it's the only opinion-based team sport in our country. And then, we can't even agree on when the hell the season starts.
It starts week 0. We're like Korea with their age changing.
What?
Oh, you didn't see that? The whole South Korea changes their laws on aging. When you're born in Korea,
right?
You're born at the age of 1 at birth. When the calendar hits January 1st, you add another year. So if you're born on December 31st, you're 2 on January 1st.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is you could look great for your age.
Exactly. But college football in Korea, basically with a weird counting order.
So, that's how zany that sport is. How do we determine a national champion? Well, we sit down at the end and, a few people automatically qualify, but the other half, we just, we just based on what we've seen, what we think, what we feel, we decide who's in.
We like to do this thing called the eye test.
Right. Of course, most of the people that are deciding have been wearing glasses for years, and we don't even know how much football they actually watch. So, not that college football is unique or anything. I mean, it'd be like a major sport in this country having, 2 leagues and having different rules. Like, I mean, could you imagine Major League Baseball ever having the DH in one league and no DH in the other? I mean, that'd be ridiculous. We are something, aren't we? The stuff, if you just put it under the label of sports, the stuff you can sell us that will go, yes, absolutely. I know exactly what you're saying. I agree 100%.
David, and I know they're, college and pro, but you and I both love the fact that in one game of football, you only have to put 1 foot down before you go out of bounds. And in another game of football, basically the exact same game, played the same way on the same field sometimes, you have to get 2 feet in before you go out of bounds. And you and I both love that.
Love it. That's a catch on Saturday. Okay, not on Sunday. Or Thursday or Monday, for that matter, too. Nope, that catch is only good on Saturdays. Right there.
And doing those SEC and CBS games, I guarantee Nestler will say at least once this year, if not 14 times, that catch would have even been good on Sunday.
So there you have it. 57, 62, and 69. And by the time Mark returns to the show after today, because Mark's taking next week off, Felipe and I will be back on July 5th. All right, Mark. Man, the first digits will be a 4. And even the last number, the first digit will be a 5. I mean, tell you, you're going to be a changed man when you come back. Just from the magic numbers alone, you will have read your Phil Steele book, cover to cover, maybe even read a few of the lists twice. He's already doing interviews.
Oh, yeah.
In June. He's doing preseason college football interviews in June. Not that we're thirsty for football or anything. No, not at all. Not at all. That's just a rumor. As Paul points out in our Twitch chat room. And you know what? With college football, how about if our champion's determined by this thing we call the AP poll? Love that. I love the fact for the longest time we determined the champion before the bowl games. Congratulations, you're the national champion. And then you go lose your bowl game. The championship still counts. Keep the trophy. You're good.
It's a regular season trophy anyhow.
Right. It's like an
You're our
MVP
champion.
award. Right. It's kind of like Joel Embiid's MVP. Hey, speaking of which, he apparently is going to have a new teammate. Listen, I love me a diva wide receiver. And I mean, I love him. Love him. But the NBA player, I can't handle. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. The diva NBA player is like, no, you know what? You're too diva for me.
Well, it's because every star, for the most part, is a diva player. And not necessarily in the diva wide receiver category, but they figured it out in that league. If you want out of your current situation, you can get out of your current situation.
Which is so funny because in the National Football League, when you try to do the same thing, they laugh at you.
Right in your face, David.
And so we've suggested for years, how about if the NBA franchises tried the NFL approach? When the Kyrie Irvings and the James Hardens of the world ask for a trade, you just laugh at them. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to happen. I mean, we were all kids once. We protested to our parents, and our parents just laughed and said, well, one day you'll be old enough. You'll live on your own. You can do what you want. Until then, house rules. And it worked, right? Went to our room. We huffed and puffed. Okay. Maybe we acted out a little bit.
Not too much, because if we acted out, usually that meant more punishment.
Right. Got grounded. And there's no chance that our trade request would be honored once we got grounded. So, I don't know. I just think, they've taken the wrong approach. I want out. Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me figure out how I can trade you. And at the same time, we're all bashing Damian Lillard because he may not want out.
Yeah, right. He's not kicking and screaming.
No, he's saying, know what? I like Portland. I really like it here. My family likes it here. We've been here a long time. This is home. I don't want to leave. I would like you guys to find a way to build a championship around me. And he is just ridiculed around the rest of the league of being pond scum because he won't bitch and moan so he can get out of Portland.
Hey, you're the boss.
They are taking his image off of the arena that they play in. And yet he still wants to stay. Have you seen that video from earlier in the week?
Yeah, but I think that was taken out of context.
Oh, okay. So what? They're promoting the circus coming to town, the Globetrotters show? What?
I don't know.
They're redoing it?
It's Damian Lillard. He's I've said their greatest player in franchise history.
You did. You said that. You said that a year ago. We challenged you on it a year ago. You may be right. He may be because of his length of service.
That zero will be in the rafters one day.
Oh, well, there's no doubt about that.
No doubt about that.
It's just a matter, was he better than, Walton was only there a short time. I would say Walton's greatness in that short time is better than Dame's best, 5-year run. And Drexler, it's a matter, is it Lillard or Drexler? Drexler took him to the finals twice. So, whatever. Debate for another day. But yeah, listen, 36 million is not enough to play with Joel Embiid. Okay. It just isn't, Mark. I'm not going to play with this guy. League MVP, scoring champion 2 years in a row. I can't play with him for 36 million. Hell no. Get me out of here. Yeah, but didn't you demand a trade there? Just a little over a year ago, in fact. Huh?
Now I'm demanding another one.
Third trade demand in 3 years. That should have been addressed in the CBA, Mark, that they just redid. You only get a certain number of trade demands in a certain period of time. No, I'm sorry, James. Your limit's up right here. Page 14, paragraph 2, subsection C. You're at your limit, dude.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said,
Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet-sounding shades away.
It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see the video of the Mets fan?
Which
the
one?
The woman?
No.
So the Mets loaded the bases with 2 outs in the 9th last night, and Sterling Marte was coming up. And they go to a crowd shot, and there's this woman who yells, because Marte, he's a free swinger, and the Mets had gotten 2 walks and a hit, loaded the bases in the 9th. And so she yells from like the 2nd row, and the camera's right in on her. She yells, "Don't swing at everything!" Okay, and he proceeds to swing.
I just saw the at-bat. He swung at everything.
He swung at everything and struck out on 3 pitches.
I ran into my neighbors. I haven't seen him in a while, walking the dog, and she's just beside herself.
Oh, she's got to be
she
just
she was fine with them not firing everybody. She was asking, but because she asked me, she says, Buck, she asked about 2 weeks ago, she goes, "Is Buck getting fired?" I said, "I don't think so." She said, "I don't know," and blah, blah, blah. But she's like, watch the presser and all that. I said, "Well, they suck." And her husband just looks at me like, "Really? You got to," he's like, "I got to do the rest of this walk with her." She's been on suicide watch for a week, and you tell her team sucks.
He looks at you like, "Why don't you walk with her the rest of the thing? I'll take your dog."
So
Ambien, yeah, we talked about this. I'm going to give it like 20 minutes easy. I got to see this course. They're driving over city bridges, and yeah, I got to see this. Yeah, absolutely.
My dog is in. He has a 14-inch incision from this surgery yet. He's
Oh, wow.
Ear to ear.
Yeah, that's what I got.
And so he's wearing like a bodysuit right now, like clothes to try to keep it contained.
Right.
And then there's a wrap over it, and there's all this crap. I get up this morning to let him out. Everything's, I don't know how he got out of it, but he got out of everything. So I didn't put it all back on because it's 5 a.m. I'm just waiting for my wife to wake up and text me going, "What did you do to the dog?" I'm like, "I didn't do a damn thing to the dog."
I was going to say, well, she's up by now, isn't she?
I doubt it.
Oh, because she doesn't have to work. So I'm surprised you didn't wake her up and say, "Hey, honey, you're the vet."
No, I just let the dog sleep. What's she going to do? The big Band-Aid's still on him. He's fine.
Oh, okay.
And he's got the cone. He can't get to anything because he's wearing the cone.
Not the cone.
Oh, it's the worst.
Bumps into you, bumps into every wall.
Brad Gilly, ambient, 8 a.m. yesterday. Top of the 8 o'clock hour. Download it, floridasportsnetwork.com. Think you'll enjoy it.
He was good.
Yeah, he's always good. He should talk NASCAR for a living. Yeah, I got to admit, Canada Relief, that might be a touch early. Okay, I would have, as somebody who has done the St. Patrick's Day Parade in New York City, one's a little early. That 3 o'clock would have been ideal. I don't know how much, I want to get more drinking in before the Islanders-Rangers game. I want to be able to take a nap during the first intermission of the Islanders-Rangers game.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Final day of June. How about that? I think this year's moving along. I do.
It is. They all do. That's what happens when you get old. The years go by. Yes.
No. Some years move at a glacier pace. Like, did you think that 2020 moved at this pace?
That's a bad example because
we're talking about a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic.
That was a once-in-a-lifetime
you're going to say
year.
that? Come on.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Hopefully we're doing this show for a little while, okay? And there will be a year down the road, 24, 25, 26, in which I'll go, by the way, doesn't it seem like this year is going slow as molasses?
I'll take that $20 bet right now.
Telling you, I think all the success of the Florida sports teams has made this year just fly by. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Time now for
the starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, we'll start with baseball. Rays took 2 out of 3 from Arizona. They scored 5 in the third. They beat the Diamondbacks 6-1. So add a little half game to their lead over the Orioles. Meanwhile, Marlins were getting no hit into the 8th. Uh-oh. Yeah, but here's the good news. Boston only had 1 hit into the 7th, and the Red Sox never scored. So when the Marlins scored 1 in the 8th and Jazz Chisholm homered off Kenley Jansen in the 9th, it was a 2-0 Marlins win. That's a sweep, baby. The Marlins are 14 games above 500. That's happened twice before in franchise history. You know what happened each of those 2 years? Marlins won the World Series. Huh?
That was the first time in franchise history they swept the Red Sox in a series.
Yeah, but okay, in all honesty, how many times have they played the Red Sox?
Well, every once in a while, I feel like every other year they play the Red Sox. They've been around since 93.
Right, well, okay. All right. I guess. I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot of Marlins Red Sox games in their glorious history together over the last 30 years, but okay. But it is true. It's the first time. Hey, I got a suggestion for a poll question.
Huh.
All right. I mean, listen,
there's the type of poll question.
I know. I know mentally you've checked out, so just ponder it and tell me your thoughts.
Christian or Sam?
That would be Sam.
Okay.
Even though he was a first-round pick. But will the Marlins make the playoffs? Yay or nay? You just say, the Marlins are 14 games above 500 for only the third time in franchise history. But are you believing? Will the Marlins make the playoffs? Yes or no? That's
yes.
All. It's just a thought. And by the way, let's keep it up through the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do you care? You're gone. I mean, 3.5 hours from now, you're going to even forget our names, for goodness sakes.
What?
That's a sweep for the Marlins. And they head to Atlanta now to face the Braves, who, and
then they're going to get a warm reception.
Listen, 1 out of 3 would be spectacular. Yankees scored 8 in the 6th. Beat Oakland 10-4. Josh Donaldson was awful, and then he went back to his old stomping grounds, the Alameda Coliseum there, and he had a big series. He had 2 more RBIs yesterday. Kiner Falefa had 3 RBIs. So Ohtani homered again. Trout made an amazing catch in which most of his left arm was over the wall when he brought it back. But the White Sox beat the Angels 9-7. And Houston shut out St. Louis 14-0. So Houston's now in second. The Angels are back in third in the West. Houston 5 behind Texas, who lost to Detroit 8-5. Do you know the Tigers are only 4 games out in the Central?
And they're like 10 games under 500.
They're exactly 10 games below 500, and they're 4 games out. Twins were idle and picked up a half a game to now be tied for first with Cleveland. I felt badly for the Guardians because, Mark, one of the coolest plays in baseball happened in the top of the 10th. Jose Ramirez steals home to give the Guardians a 3-2 lead in the 10th.
I could not get enough of that play.
It was awesome. I love running it in baseball. It's exciting. All right. And now with the pitch clock, base runners are able to, and the limited times you're able to throw over, base runners are able to time pitchers better, and base running's way up. Jose Ramirez stole home to give the Guardians a 3-2 lead, but KC came back and won it at the bottom of the 10th, 4-3. I don't know if we can mention the Twins and Guardians. They are both tied for first, but they're also both 2 games below 500.
Two games below 500.
Correct.
They got to sweep a series to get back over 500.
Right. They're the same number of games below 500 as the Red Sox. Correct. Both, however, far better than the Padres and Mets, though, and spending far less. So there's that going for you, which is nice. Hey, did you see the air quality in Pittsburgh for the Pirates-Padres game yesterday?
I'm going to be in Pittsburgh a week from now. I'm hoping the air quality gets a little better on my little trip across the country here.
Do you remember, what is it, a couple of weeks ago in New York City, and I think it was the governor of New York said something, there were baseball games planned and the whole deal, and she said, hey, the magic number is 200. I'm not going to allow anybody, any fans, anybody playing it. The air quality's got to be below 200. And just so you know, 197 looks like a nuclear event has happened. But for whatever reason, they draw the line at 200. The Pittsburgh air quality yesterday was 197. Andrew McCutchen played the game with a mask on. Just to make a point. Pirates beat the Padres 5-4. San Diego's lost 5 in a row. Vlad Guerrero hit a 2-run homer. That was enough. Toronto beat San Francisco 2-1. And Vlad, for the first time in 4 years, has said, I'll be part of the home run derby. Milwaukee took 3 of 4 for the Mets. They beat them 3-2. They're now tied for first with Cincinnati in the Central. The Phils have won 4 in a row. Can't gain any ground on the Marlins, and they'd still be out of the playoffs if the playoffs started today, but they have gotten their act together. 3-1 Phillies over the Cubs. Schwarber led off the game with another homer. And Mark, the Dodgers are just 2 back of Arizona. They scored 6 in the 4th. They beat Colorado 14-3. Rams over the Broncos 14-3 yesterday. So they announced the starters for the All-Star game, at least the position players. 2 Rays and a Marlin.
How about that?
Yeah. Yandy Diaz at first, Randy Arozarena in the outfield. Meanwhile, I mean, come on, the guy's hitting nearly 400. I mean, that should get you an All-Star game start at second base for Luis Arraez, and it did. 4 Texas Rangers, 3 Atlanta Braves in the starting lineup. Pitchers will be named a little bit later on. Shane McClanahan's 11-1. I mean, come on now. He's got to get the ball, right?
One would think.
So we'll see. NHL draft. Estero, Florida's Gavin Brindley was the second pick of the second round. That's the good news. The bad news is he's going to Columbus. I got nothing against the city. I actually love the downtown. I think it's a neat little city. All right, but the Blue Jackets aren't particularly good. That's all. Lightning and Panthers didn't have first-round picks, but they did have second-round picks. Tampa early, Florida late. And Buffalo forward Jack Quinn, who was a top draft pick a few years ago, he tore his Achilles working out. He's going to miss at least 6 months. So that's not good. Golf, Rocket Mortgage in Detroit. It's a world-class field, Mark. Taylor Moore and Peter Kust are tied for the lead at 8 under. I mean, a few guys are moonlighting. Morikawa's 6 under. Ricky Fowler's 5 under. Did you hear Ricky's post-game interview?
I did not.
You don't hear this very often. So Fowler got it to 7 under and finished bogey. And so one of the questions, of course, is, hey, what happened at the end? He chuckles and he says, well, to be honest, I had to go to the bathroom. And there were not a lot of porta-johns in the final 5 holes. So I was kind of struggling there the final 30 minutes.
You know, when there's tens of thousands of people there, it's a lot harder to pull up next to a tree, if you know what I mean.
Correct. But I love the fact when, this Detroit Country Club, right? Is where they're having this.
Club, I think.
And so, after the tournament's over, the staff will get together. They'll have a meeting, and how'd you say? Well, things were good here. Complaints about this and that, and remember, we got to add a couple of porta-johns in the final 4 holes. Now that's the 6 seconds of truth we're looking for.
Absolutely. By the way, all those low numbers. Justin Thomas shot a 76 yesterday.
After shooting a 60 in Connecticut over the weekend. Not that his game's a mess or anything. Keegan Bradley, who won last week's 3 under. Max Homa's 3 under. LIV gets underway today in Spain. By the way, Padraig Harrington's playing so well. You were talking about the Champions Tour. They got their Senior Open this week. There's talk, do you add Padraig Harrington as a wild card onto the European Ryder Cup team? He had a top 30 finish at the U.S. Open. He's tearing it up on the Champions Tour.
Is that really the best you can do?
I'm just saying, it's a topic. It's a topic of conversation.
No. I don't mean, to me, I think the Euros can do better.
Really? You think Padraig Harrington at 51 or one of those guys on the DP World Tour playing before 13 people? Come on, you've turned on golf Saturday, Sunday mornings on the Golf Channel. There's more people watching your round of golf in a stereo, okay, than are watching the DP World Tour. You're going to put those guys in a Ryder Cup scenario? Besides, Harrington plays so slow, he might just annoy the guys in the group so much, you might win just because of it. Plus the squeaky voice. Anyway. So James Harden threw a curveball at everybody yesterday. Remember, he was not going to pick up his option. He was going to become a free agent. He was going to, get the most money he can. Instead, he picks up his $35.6 million option, but then tells Philly, yeah, I have no interest in playing for you guys anymore. I'm sorry, what? So he wants out. Reportedly, the Clippers, the leader in the clubhouse. Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard together. We'll see. They waived Eric Gordon, saving $21 million yesterday. Harrison Barnes signed a 3-year, $54 million extension with Sacramento. Never been a starter, really, in his career. He's been a six-man off the bench his whole career. He's earned over $200 million. Lakers let Malik Beasley and Mo Bamba walk, saving $27 million. Josh Hart picked up his nearly $13 million option with the Knicks. He's going to sign a 4-year extension with them, but he can't do it until sometime in August, league rules and all. Free agency begins 6 o'clock tonight. The thought is Harden gets dealt before 6. NFL suspends 4 players for gambling, 2 of them Colts, Isaiah Rodgers and Rashad Berry. They bet on NFL games. They're gone for at least a year. Rodgers bet on the Colts, and he won $1,000 on a rushing yards prop bet on a Colts game. Listen, Mark, there's this guy from the Titans, the offensive tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere. He's suspended 6 games because he placed a bet on an NBA game in the parking lot. Okay, I think that's flipping ridiculous. But meanwhile, Isaiah Rodgers, I don't know if I'd ever let him back in the league.
David, I think, the suspensions were listed as indefinite in what I read. I don't know how you can. And I'm not joking. You and I both think Ridley got off easy.
Yeah, he placed bets. Granted, he was injured, but he was playing for the Falcons. He placed bets on Falcons games. Come on, man. If you're running a league, that's the worst possible thing you could have. Jags left tackle Cam Robinson suspended first 4 games of the season for PEDs. And for what it's worth, J.J. Watt signed with CBS. Going to show up occasionally and talk about the NFL. 6 Gator baseball players entered the transfer portal yesterday, including 3 pitchers. That's interesting. 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
We'll talk NIL in the 8 o'clock hour with Dan Lusk, one of the experts on that subject, to try to pinpoint what's going on with the NCAA and NIL. That coming up on Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient, it is probably the most difficult to get NBA guests of all guests. They are night owls by nature.
Ambient, I asked 4 NBA people, and I even reached out to 2 Philly-specific people. Couldn't do it. Ambient, I'm surprised we have the guest list we have, considering we do mornings.
You know, can we dig deeper on this poll question a little bit?
Yeah.
Because if you look at the National League's pretty damn good. I mean, the Padres and Mets are awful teams. I get it. But they're not awful. They're going to beat teams coming down the stretch.
Well, I think San Diego still has a positive run differential. I mean, you look at them and you go, well, obviously there's a good team masquerading as a mediocre one right now. But I think the Giants are kind of playing over their skis right now too.
Oh, well, and then we could say the Marlins are, I mean, the Reds are.
Right. I don't think the Marlins are going to have to contend with anyone in the Central for a wild card. But yeah, we'll talk about this.
Yeah. It's fine, Ambien. There are a lot that feel that way.
But it's also part of the reason why we have him on. Okay, we talk about things with Seth that we don't talk about with anybody else. He also comes at it from a perspective that most of our guests do not. He's clearly more liberal than 90% of our audience. Okay, we've always been a big believer of here. You guys decide. But we're not groupthink guys. And by the way, 15 years. You know how much money we've paid Seth Everett? Bupkis. Makes time for us every week.
Saquon just squatting 600 pounds is unreal.
Barefoot.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this final show of June. Hope you've had a good week. For many of you, I know this is the last work day for a while. You'll probably, take Monday off and at least get a 4-dayer out of it. That's what myself and Felipe are going to do. Mark's got the week off. Family vacay. He may be begging to come back. All of a sudden, Felipe and I may be Thursday morning, gearing up to do the show. All of a sudden, the phone might be ringing like crazy. Felipe may answer it at 5:58 and go, hello? Mark's like, yeah, put me on the air. I got to get away.
I am super excited about the first part of this vacation.
Okay.
The rest of it, I am nervous as all get up.
That's where that Thursday morning phone call comes in.
You're damn right. And it might be Wednesday.
Well, I'm thinking, you'll be up late on the 4th. It might be a little drinking involved. I'm thinking you'll be okay with missing Wednesday.
Maybe.
May call in at 7:30 is what you're saying?
Can I please do a good, bad, and ugly, please?
Sure. Absolutely.
So yeah, we're going to the nation's capital for 4 days. The wife and the daughter and my son's actually going to join us as well. And then we are going to a lake for a couple of days with my brother and sister-in-law and my wife's sister-in-law, brother and my wife's brother and her sister-in-law. But it's the sister-in-law's family that we're staying with. So it's a hodgepodge of family. And it's going to be a lot of people. I know them, but again, it's, my brother-in-law's in-laws. I'm pretty far removed from that, if you know what I mean.
Very much so. Very much so. Have you ever met these people before?
Oh, many times.
Oh, well, just okay. I mean, Mark, I lived next door to people for 15 years and don't know their names. So the fact, I'm sorry. I know you sounded incredulous there, but for me, there's a really good chance, that I would never have met these people yet.
Speaking of which, how many of your neighbors, you've been in Jacksonville now since
mid-September.
How many people in your condo, I don't know how many buildings or how many different condominiums are in your building?
24.
Of the 23 neighbors that you have in the building.
Right.
How many do you know their names?
None. I know the condo that the president of the board lives in. Had to knock on her door a week or so ago. We had an issue. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Nice place you have here. Wow. I like it. Hey, I got a question. Yeah, I have no idea her name. None. Nope. None. Zip, zilch, nada.
So nobody came over, knocked on the door and said, hey, I'm so-and-so. I live right next to you. Welcome to the neighborhood.
No. In fact, if anything, I get looks on the elevator. There's one elevator. It's communal. It's right. It's 3 floors. It's 8 condo, per floor. And they're all just lined up straight. No squares, no hallways. It's just, it's just a, building, 8 condos, 3 floors, 24 condos. And there's an elevator right in the middle. And Mark, of the 24 condos, we're probably the 3rd youngest couple in it. So for the first 6 months that we were here, people looked at us like, what are you doing here? You live here?
Who are you visiting?
Yes. Hey, so-and-so, you're not, because apparently you're not allowed to use your condo as an Airbnb. It's in the bylaws.
Most are like that.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever. I don't read the bylaws. You know that. How much? Got it.
Well, and that's where I've thought this is fun because I know you don't read the bylaws and you're doing a renovation.
Yes.
And I could see where the renovation would end up causing problems with the HOA for you not following proper procedure.
So first off, the fact there is a procedure is ridiculous in my thought. I own this, correct? What's the problem? Unless I'm bothering, honestly, unless I am putting a hole in a wall to the condo on either side of me or to the condo below me, because I'm on the top floor. Okay. My thought is, unless I'm bothering, and I don't mean noise, I mean like all of a sudden, wait, there's a hole in the wall. What do you mean I need approval? I own it. I'm not doing anything with the outside of it. I'm not changing the outside appearance. I own the inside. What do you mean I need approval? That's a joke. It's ridiculous. To me, it's right up there with suspending me 6 games for placing the NBA bet in the NFL parking lot.
Oh, boy. Like I said, I knew this was going to be an issue.
Right. But we had to submit and it had to get approval. Okay?
Yeah.
And I looked right at the woman and I go, here you go. By the way, just so you know, if you say no, we're going through with the repairs anyway.
Oh, that's a fantastic approach to get things done.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do? Honestly, what are they going to do? Hey, come on. This is a 70-year-old woman. Okay, she can't be bought. Like what? She's going to call security?
You have
Gonna
no
call the
idea what
cops?
an HOA can do to you. David, they could send you to jail for the rest of your life.
Listen, Warner Wolf beat the HOA a couple years ago in Naples, and ever since then, I've been inspired. I made up my mind right then and there when Warner Wolf took on the HOA and won that, you know what? I'm taking on the HOA. You could beat an HOA. Yeah. Anyway.
21,000's the text line if you want to tell your horror stories of how many times you lost to your HOA.
Hey, I'm sure many of you have. Okay, I'm just saying you can beat the HOA. They're not undefeated. They're like the Harlem Globetrotters, but the Generals did beat them twice. Now, there was a long drought. It was like 30-something years before they got that second one. But I'm just saying. But yeah, Mark, I don't know anybody's name at all. And there's a younger couple that lives right next door to us. We actually parked next to one another. And all of our eyes lit up when we saw the other. It was like, hey, you're not a senior citizen. You're actually in the, 18 to 49 demo, the couple next to us. I mean, they're like, late 20s, early 30s. And we still haven't, we still don't know each other's names. None of the 4 of us have said, hey, I'm David. Hey, I'm Tony. No. Mm-mm.
I'm guessing out of the 24, 18 know your name. They've looked at your mail. They've looked at something. They've went through your car when you weren't looking. And now they're probably being the 3rd youngest, David. You're wearing a target on your back in a condominium complex.
Boy,
and
Mark,
then you're trying to rock the HOA boat. Oh boy.
Mark, I so hope my wife is not listening to you because also we have communal garbage. Okay, next to the elevator is the garbage shaft.
And you damn well better be sorting your garbage the right way, David, because the last thing you want to do is put something down the wrong chute.
Well, my wife is convinced, okay, that people are going through our garbage. Okay, we are having to shred everything. Okay, I tried to throw out 2 pill bottles the other day. Oh my goodness. I even peeled most of the label off them. She looked at me like you're going to give away our state secrets.
Well, once she got the binoculars and started spying on your neighbors, I could see where they would want to go through your garbage.
That's exactly what I said. I said, you're the spy. She goes, yeah, but if I'm doing this, what do you think they're doing to us? I'm like, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Although that lady that you told I'm doing the repairs anyhow told she knows everybody in the building.
Well, good. I don't want
she's told them to watch out.
Yes.
Watch out for the Moultons in 3B. I'm telling you right now, they're trouble.
Good. I want the reputation. I want them whispering, going, there's an a-hole in 120. Yes, there is. Yes. Mm-hmm. Leave me alone. If I want to get to know you, I'll get to know you. All right. I'll help you lift things. I'll help you with I've helped people with their groceries. I've taken them up. I've been a nice guy. I don't need to know their name. They don't need to know mine. Okay. But I'll help you with that. Sure. I'm a good guy. Kinda.
Do they have a lot of community events there, like things down by the pool?
There's 2 pools. There's one on both sides of us that we can use.
This is the way that it works. But do they have a gazebo, some sort of a building there where everybody gathers? And have you been invited to any of these events yet?
There's a monthly, the meeting to go over what's going on with the development.
No. I'm talking about, do they have any little
a social?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like I'd go anyway.
I think you and the wife should go to a condo social.
Really?
Make sure you bring some food.
Well, you got to bring a dish to pass.
Some sort of delight. Dessert, something.
Well,
maybe some deviled eggs.
No, that's my mother. If my mother's in town, that's what we'll do. Say, Mom, let's spice up this Tuesday night. You make deviled eggs. We're going to the condo social. By the way, my mother's the exact same way, which I know is going to shock everybody. Okay. In the townhouse she lives in Jersey. Okay. My Aunt Kathy was president of the board. Okay. And my mother would yell across the hallway and give her grief about things. And they're best friends.
So you're not running for any board positions then? Is it safe to say?
No, they asked me to. We had a meeting the other day. Okay. And just anyway, our HOA, our fees going up because of insurance, because of Ian. Because of, last year was rough. The building collapse in Miami, and then Ian, hitting the west coast of Florida. And so, insurance rates have doubled. And so our insurance is going up. And so therefore our HOA is going up $70. Mark, I'm just, honestly, I'm a fly on the wall. I'm not saying a word. Not a word. And the president says, it's going to go up $70. And one woman very angrily, defiantly says, what if I don't pay it? And I say, then we'll kick you out. And she just turned and looked at me, and I just stared right at her like, this is not, she's being nice. I literally said, she's being nice. She said it as if you have a choice. You don't have a choice. Your choice is to move. Then another one says, well, what if we just don't pay it? I go, really? No insurance. I looked at the president. I said, on behalf of everybody, I apologize. You don't deserve this.
Miller and Moulton, how to make friends and influence people. The HOA style, with the only way we can do it. Right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said,
Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet sounding shades away.
It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
This is not a 55-plus community. It just so happens that most people in here are over 65. But no, I'm telling you, the young couple who lives next to us combined, they're like my age. Morning, Spitz.
I'm going to text your wife and say, I'm pretty sure your neighbors are going through your mail.
Oh, please don't. Oh, my God. I beg of you. Tell her I'm having an affair before you text her that. Please. All right, Deadstruck, let's get to this. So with the person in front of you, and the 10 item or less thing who had 14 items, did you think it was a violation? Did you think this is inappropriate? Adam, we're having to move out for 6 weeks to do the stuff that we have to do. Spitz, we know each other so well. We know what gets the other going. I never do self-checkout. I'm tired of all these businesses making us do the work for them so they can make more money.
Stop it. It literally makes the line faster.
Well, first off, it's
your trip to Publix quicker.
It's its own line, number one. So it doesn't make the line go faster. Unless you're arguing that there's less people in line because some use self-checkout.
Well, here's the thing. Wawa, for example, has self-checkout and no one uses it. There's always
I
a
know.
line that fills up at Wawa, and I just walk past everyone, go boom, boom, bloop, bloop, boom, I'm done.
There's a lot of things though at Wawa, like gas. You know, I don't think you can use it for cigarettes. If you get a soda, a fountain drink, you can't use it.
I always use it at Costco. And usually there's people there with the guns and they just do all my stuff for me. And then I get really happy.
Well, then that's not self-checkout though.
I know. It's cheating.
Well, then I'm with you then. I'd be all into that.
Yeah, I do the self-checkout at Walmart every time because you can't get into a line the other way.
That's another one.
for how very little I go to Wally World.
I was so happy and nervous because I got BOGO watermelon at Publix yesterday, and it was item number 9 and 10.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. 57, 62, 69 are your magic numbers. 8 weeks tomorrow, week 0 of the college football season. 9 weeks yesterday, week 1. 10 weeks yesterday, Lions and Chiefs kicking off the NFL season. 4 more NFL suspensions, 3 of them for gambling yesterday. 3 guys kicked out for a year. They bet on NFL games. 2 of them were Indianapolis Colts. 1 guy bet on the Colts. Hell, he had prop bets. Did you see the betting, by the way? Most of his bets were between $25 and $50, except for the $1,000 rushing prop bet, which he won. He bet the over.
Well, they are certainly sending a message with these suspensions.
Yeah, they are. They are. What I found interesting was the Tennessee Titan lineman who got suspended the 6 games. All right. He said, I attended the seminar and everything. He goes, I know I'm not allowed to bet on NFL games. He goes, but I missed the part because he got suspended because he placed a bet on whatever it is he placed. I think it was NBA. And he did it from the parking lot. The joke that we've had for months when talking about this. And he goes, I was paying attention and everything. He goes, don't know what to tell you. I screwed up.
He didn't pay that much attention.
Well, that's exactly. I mean, might have dozed off, might have thought it was a team meeting. Dozed off.
All right, we put a poll question up today about the Marlins. They're 14 games above 500. Are they going to make the playoffs? It's a very simple question. And when you dig deeper and you look at the National League, it's going to be difficult. They've got the Phillies 4 games back. The Mets aren't a threat to catch them, but I think the Mets, I look at the National League, and how many really bad teams are there in the National League? Well, the Nats are a bad team. The Rockies are a bad team. And that's about it.
Well, how much more evidence do we need from the Cardinals?
Yeah, the Cardinals, believe it or not, David, have improved quite a bit. I mean, they were playing 300 baseball. They've got their...
True. They're playing 400 baseball now. True.
Well, but they're playing better than that because they got it to 400. I mean, their record was abysmal. And David, all I'm saying is that I think the Cardinals are vastly underachieving this season.
Agreed. Them and the Mets and the Padres.
Sorry, and I don't think the Cardinals are a team that's going to quit playing baseball.
So what you're saying is the National League is the AFC this year.
A lot more so than, yeah, I am.
Well, here's the only place where I'll disagree with you. I don't think the NL Central is going to produce a wild card team. So I know the Reds have had a nice run here, and the Brewers have been consistent for 7-8 years now. But I just see the division champion coming out of the NL Central. So basically, if you're the Marlins, and I'm sorry, the Mets are out right now until they play their way back in. If you do the math, now we don't know if the Marlins can play 500 ball the rest of the way. By the way, if they play 500 ball the rest of the way, they win 88 games, which would have been enough to make the playoffs last year. Phillies made it with 87, I believe, last year as the 6th seed. So first off, Mark, 2-point question. If the Marlins play 500 ball the rest of the way, would 88 get them in your opinion, yes or no?
Wow, that is so close. I think it gets them in, David. I think if they can play 500 ball the rest of the way, they're in.
Okay, well, that's good because my gut feeling right now is no. But if we think the Marlins are playing a little over their skis, who else do we think right now in the National League is in the playoffs that's playing over their skis? I think it's the Giants a little bit. And I think Arizona a little bit. But I think Arizona's got off to such a great start that even if they come back and play 500 ball, Arizona, they're going to find themselves in the playoffs. Like, I think the Dodgers are still going to win the West, but I think Arizona is going to make the playoffs.
All I am saying is I think the NL is good enough that you don't have the Royals and the A's, if you know what I mean, that you're going to get to play a couple of times. And that every series is a little more difficult. And playing 500 ball for the Marlins is not as easy as we think it is. They're still with a negative. I think their run differential might have got to even. Yeah, they're actually right to level with their run differential after last night. And I just think that playing 500 baseball is not a foregone conclusion for the Marlins.
Okay, 3 wild cards. Marlins, Phillies out of the East. I don't think anybody in the Central is a viable contender for a wild card. And then you've got, I think, 3 teams in the West. I still think San Diego is viable as a wild card team. They have a plus, 20 or 30 run differential, despite being like 6 games below 500. All right. And I think they're better than the Mets, put it this way. I think the Mets are out.
Do you think they're going to quit playing baseball, though? I mean, that's, I think the Mets could. I looked at the Marlins schedule. I think 7 of the last 10 games the Marlins play this year are against the Mets. You don't think the Mets are going to be trying like hell to keep the Marlins out of the postseason?
Well, the Marlins have kept the Mets out of the postseason twice, all right, in that very same scenario. No, I don't think the Mets are going to quit, but I also think the Mets are going to sell off here. I mean, including Scherzer, by the way. All right, Scherzer apparently has already gone to them and said, listen, I really would like to stay, but if you think it's in the best interest, tell me where it is you want to send me. And, if I agree to it, okay.
The Mets will not be able to salvage this season.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And I'm not. Don't mistake what I am saying for saying that the Mets are going to catch the Marlins. What I am saying is that the Marlins have 7 of the last 10 against the Mets. And I don't think the Mets are going to quit playing baseball. I don't think it's that easy to say that the Marlins are going to go 500 the rest of the way. It's not a foregone conclusion. That is all I am saying.
And I know we got to get to the Clutch Vodka play of the day. What I'm saying is I think the Marlins are one of 5 teams for 3 wild card spots. Marlins, Phillies, and then I think the Dodgers are ultimately going to win. So I think it's going to be the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Padres.
I still think that the Reds are viable, and believe it or not, I think one team in the Central, you look at the Cubs with a positive run differential, someone could make a move and get right back in this thing because of the talent and the teams that they're playing against. So I just give the NL a little more credit maybe than you do, David. Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day, brought to you by Clutch Vodka. It's Clutch with a K. What do you have, Felipe?
So if it was up to me, I'd make it just Marlins. I've had a lot of Marlins plays recently. I almost made it the Jazz Chisholm home run last night late, which was an absolute bomb. But then I saw something that really interested me. Jose Ramirez in the 10th inning with 2 outs steals home.
The 2-strike pitch. Here comes Ramirez. Throw to the plate high. Head first slide out at the plate. Jose waves to the dugout, says challenge it. How about that? Jose Ramirez trying to steal home plate. He says he got the hand in before the tag of Perez. And here comes acting manager DeMarlo Hale. A daring move by Jose Ramirez.
They'd go on to review it, and the batter, Jose Ramirez, would be safe. But they'd go on to lose, which breaks my heart because that is like if Vince Wilfork had like a 50-yard run for a touchdown. I mean, that was sensational by Jose. Just
you don't see a steal of home very often. Never mind to potentially win a game. That's true.
Exactly, and that's your clutch play of the day.
It was clutch. They were just out-clutched by the Royals in the bottom half of the inning.
I mean, 2 outs. Jose Ramirez stealing home. That is
And 2 strikes too.
And 2
Against
strikes.
Chapman.
Yeah.
Chapman very slow to the plate. He timed him. Great slide.
Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
When will I down NASCAR gear?
Or Dawn.
Or Dawn. I said down. I don't know. If I find a Jeff Gordon hat at a dollar store.
I almost know by what happens the night before what Philly has on the next day. Like, I knew you had Marlins gear on today.
Sweep the Red Sox in Fenway. Come on. Had a Marlins hat on yesterday, too.
Now we won't see any more. If they get swept by the Braves, the Marlins will go away for about a week.
Well, I won't be here for the time that.
But you would. But that's how you roll.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna.
You're a fan, but you're a front runner fan.
Well, hold on, because like, I can't just wear Marlins gear every day. So when am I gonna wear Marlins gear? When they win, you know.
I've changed. He's not a fair weather fan because he is all fans of Miami, but he gets really quiet when he is like Miami fans. They get extremely quiet when they're bad and they don't act like they're fans, even though they still are. And as soon as they win, they tell you how long they've been a fan for.
I think it's pathetic to be loud when you're getting your ass whooped.
It's not being loud, but it's still showing your fandom. Your fandom disappears.
Go ahead, talk blank. Talk blankety blank when you're down 20. I'd rather just shut up and take it. Honestly, I have nothing to say. I'm getting my ass whooped right now.
It's not having nothing to say. You left You left the Heat. You announced it on the air that you were done with them. That's what you denounce your teams, and then you come rushing back when they play
It
good.
was pathetic. You want to know why? Because I was loud.
You took that loss exceedingly hard. You took it personally. You really did. Since the short time we've known you, no loss has affected you the way that Game 5 Eastern Conference Finals loss at home has affected you.
Yes. They were the best three-point shooting team all year, and they made like 5 threes. It was awful. It was a slap in the face. It was Boston cocking up their hand and going, and us just sitting there and taking it. It's like, no, don't do that. And then they didn't do that. And then they lost in Game 7. I liked Jimmy Johnson growing up. He was like my favorite NASCAR driver.
Really? Oh my God. I found him to be staggeringly boring. The only person right now more boring in sports than Jimmy Johnson is Scott Scheffler.
I liked Jeff Gordon too. That 24 was so iconic.
I love Boy Wonder.
I also love that. So ESPN used to run these commercials where it was like, it's not crazy, it's sports. And like one of ESPN's best commercials is just how the 24 appears in so many places throughout the Deep South and just throughout the country part of our nation. And like there's a scene that ends, it's like they're playing bingo. And the guy goes, 24. And then all of a sudden you're, whoa, Jeff Gordon. It's so funny.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton on this final day of June. Thanks so much for being with us. NASCAR in Chicago, Sunday, late afternoon, heading into early evening, 5:30 Eastern is when, I don't know if it's coverage or the race, one or the other, but that's what I saw. NBC 5:30. That seems like an odd time to start your coverage, so I'm guessing it's around time when the race is supposed to start, but curious how many of you are going to check it out. Major U.S. city holding a NASCAR race within the confines of the city. It's a bold move by NASCAR. I got to get, you know what? You know, we mock baseball, and yet they've really altered the sport a lot in the last 25, 30 years. You think about what NASCAR's tried. They went back to North Wilkesboro. They got that short track LA Coliseum race they've done 2 years in a row. Now here they are racing through the streets of Chicago. They're having to hire 900 security personnel for the race.
Green flag is at 5:54, David.
Okay.
There's a 60% chance of rain on Saturday.
Race is Sunday. No,
So
I'm just saying. So hopefully, you know, it just goes through. Now, I will ask the question, since it's a street race, you know, we see it all the time in you know, they race in the rain in Formula One. I mean, I'm guessing they're not exactly going a buck 80, you know, through the streets of Chicago here. I mean, you know, could you race in the rain?
I don't believe so.
You know, Mark,
you need different tires, David.
I know. But it's like golfers, you know, certain guys are mutters. I was a mutter. All right, which, you know, it doesn't surprise anybody.
I was. I'm not anymore. After this long life in Florida, I don't know if I can handle it anymore.
So you were a mutter in Michigan, but now not so much? Which is funny because you could argue it rains more now.
Right. We run to the clubhouse when it does and wait for it to blow over and then come back out.
Well, there's this lightning element in Florida. It's a little different than everywhere else. So, all right. So, Felipe, you going to watch at all?
Hey, I'm most excited for the spectacles of it. I mean, is this not just America's Monaco?
No.
Of course it is. They're racing through the city.
No. If anything, if America's going to have a Monaco, it'll be the F1 race in Vegas.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
No, but I'm just curious. Like, it's this, like, we all checked out last year, not a couple months ago, but last year, many of us checked out the Grand Prix in Miami. We're like, oh, okay. Let's see what they're doing with this sucker. Wow, a parking lot? They're racing in the parking lot? What's this course going to look like? You know, and you had all the celebrities and, you know, it just, and we took it in and we went, interesting. And most of us didn't come back and watch it this year. Ratings were down like 50%.
It's because it's underwhelming. It's not a visually, aesthetically pleasing race.
Well,
this is.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. It's never been run before. We have no idea.
You're right. We'll see.
I know.
But
thank you for that.
But like there are people who are taking us in on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel who live in and around Chicago. And they have said it's getting crazy here. And you better get out of the city by like lunchtime today. And that the people who are following us, who live near the Windy City, have said they're going to take it in. That the excitement, the pomp, and what have you has, you know, reined them in, and they're not NASCAR people. Think about it, though. If you're a city person and you've never experienced a NASCAR race and you get anywhere close to this race, do you know what it's going to sound like?
Oh, that sound echoing, bouncing
off the buildings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I told you, you know, first time I ever covered NASCAR, and I was in the pits at Pocono. And we were in between two stalls, and I forget who I was interviewing, but I was kind of ever so slightly leaning against Bill Elliott's car. And he started that sucker up. Golly, I thought like everything in my body left me. I looked down expecting to see like 2 gallons of fluid and like 3 organs. Unbelievable. So I couldn't, and I grew up, you know, near a city. I grew up 40 minutes from New York City. So if you're used to city life and you've never experienced NASCAR.
And they should be fired up. If what we had, you know, Brad Gilly was on the show yesterday, said 70% of the ticket buyers are newcomers to NASCAR. That is a win for NASCAR. Think about that in the terms of any other sport.
That's a huge win.
Could you imagine what event, you know, a golf tournament coming in, 70% of people have never gone to a PGA event before. Those are astronomically strong numbers for NASCAR.
And you know, Mark, because you've sold tickets for a living before for professional sports. And that's when you just go, oh, man, can we just pull this sucker off? Can this just be even on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, if we can give them a 7, how many people, you know, we get going forward?
That first experience with NASCAR is always a very overwhelming, eye-opening one. I went to Homestead. I only went once. And it still to this day is the loudest noise I have heard in my entire life.
It is. And some people are immediately like, take me to the car. Let's go. I'm out of here. I have no interest in this.
I mean, it's louder than a fighter jet racing by you because it's a field of these cars doing it.
And so, you know, yeah, I'm in. 20, 30 minutes for sure. I want to see the track. Also, I'm interested in how they're going to cover it. It's not going to be the one standard broadcast booth. They're going to have like 3 or 4 different crews throughout the course. Yeah, absolutely. This interests me. I may give it an hour. So I could see till 7:00 Sunday, and then we'll see how it goes. If there's no passing, I'm out. Okay. You know my feeling, Mark. To me, F1's not racing, it's driving. Nobody passes anybody.
There's so much etiquette to passing, and
screw that. Okay, it's
Well,
real simple. You get to the
not-
corner first, you pass them. You're faster than them down the straightaway, you pass them. I don't want to hear it. Okay?
Well, and they talked about, you heard Brad yesterday. He thought there was 3 really good spots on this course to pass.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go. And then, it's like at Indy. There are places on Indy in which you know where to attempt to pass and where not to. Fine. And you set yourself up.
That's our Western mindset talking. I mean,
what do you mean our Western mindset?
Because they don't do that, apparently. It's very old.
Felipe,
to respect, but I love it. I love it because I'm with you. I think it's more exciting when there is passing because, again, the F1 race in Miami, that was really my first full experience with an F1 race. I was bored 80% of the time. I was bored.
Listen, we've talked for years, Mark. How many times is an F1 race decided by who gets to the first turn first? Oh, Verstappen's got the lead coming out of turn 1. Oh, this sucker's over.
Oh, he won. Yeah,
I've got to be honest. The sport does nothing for me. And I know I'm in the minority, and I know I should probably watch Drive to Survive. They don't pass. It's car racing on streets. It's boring as hell. I know that it's the best equipment. I know it's the best mechanics. I know it's the best brake guy. I know it's the best everything. They're the smartest and the best car people in the world. I get it. It's absolutely boring.
I don't disagree. It's just
holy cow.
I've tried.
I can't believe that we've spent this much time on F1.
Well, we're just talking about the stuff that it's a holiday weekend. Just mentioned that got the NASCAR race Sunday night in Chicago. It's different. And I'm curious, if you're running NASCAR, by the way, are you already committed just by 70% first-time ticket buyers? Are you already committed to doing this next year? Or do you actually have to see
80+%? I'm 80+%. You're having a 4th of July race in a great American city on the streets of Chicago. I think this is awesome.
Another thing,
I'm not a huge car guy. I think the concept of it is very cool.
I'm curious also what the residents think. Like, is this going to totally disrupt their 4th of July and they're going to hate it?
Well, I think there's a lot of that.
So, like, I'm curious if NASCAR loves it and the people in Chicago go, if you guys come back, you're going to need that security, okay? Because you're going to have to go through me racing by my downtown apartment for 3 days, practice, pole, race. Are you serious? I have to admit, I've never been in a major city in which I thought that the roads were good enough to have a NASCAR race on. And certainly not Chicago. I mean, I love me New York City. I mean, if I was mayor of New York and NASCAR came to me and said, we want to have a race in the city, I'd be like, have you seen our potholes?
I'll give you one. It's Miami. When F1 it was announced that it was coming to Miami, that's what I thought they would do. Something like this. But obviously, that wasn't the case, and it disappoints me a little bit.
Well, I'm impressed that in major cities that their roads are considered good enough. I think it'd be hysterical, by the way, if all of a sudden there's one part of the track which starts to fall apart and like 6 flat tires happen coming out of turn 2. Because one pothole that they thought they had repaired properly is all of a sudden giving way.
Then they put an orange cone in front of it?
Exactly. Exactly. All of a sudden, you got the union workers, holiday pay coming out. We shut down the race for 20 minutes. Got to repair this pothole.
The Chicago experience.
Felipe, I worked construction in New York City one summer. All right. And I swear on my grandparents' graves. All right. I'm looking down from like 30 stories up, and all of a sudden this truck pulls up and they take a refrigerator and they put it in the hole and they paved over the refrigerator, and that's how they repaired the pothole.
No. No.
Yep. And I mean and not one of those college fridges either, you know.
Oh no, like those old
no, like your double doored one in your kitchen. Right. Now that's what they threw in there and they paved over it. Okay.
Right.
You just wonder who was inside the refrigerator when they put it down the hole. Maybe that's where Hoffa is.
Oh my God.
Well, this was the mid 80s, Mark.
Exactly.
Maybe that is where Hoffa is. There's that. He's on 8th and 42nd. I'll be damned. I always thought he was at the Meadowlands. So I'm just curious. And if anybody else is going to watch, we're guessing most of you are not NASCAR people. So that's why, that's why they're doing this, to see if they can get you to tune into their product for an hour. When normally you wouldn't be attracted to their product with a court order.
And I've got a few texts and looking at Twitter. They will race in the rain.
Ha! It's fantastic. Let's go.
At least according to what I'm seeing.
Hell, now I want rain. Here's a question. Do the cars have windshield wipers?
Ooh.
They don't normally. I will say.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, not to sound like a total geek here. All right. I have always wondered how come they don't have brake lights. Don't you think it'd be, if we have brake lights going 70, don't you think it'd be beneficial if you're going a $190? If he's tapping on the brakes. Don't you think that would help?
Boy, you'd really get ticked off at that guy that's riding his brakes.
Well, exactly. That's when you start ramming in the back. Get your foot off the damn brake.
Do Indy cars have brake lights?
No.
Well, because F1 cars have brake lights.
There are no blinkers. There are no brake lights. There are no rearview mirrors. Okay. There are a couple of things. So if we're going to race in the rain, don't we have to have wipers?
Well, Pockgrass is saying they do have rain tires, wipers, etc. That's
awesome.
Fantastic.
I'm in. Now I want rain.
Those donuts will be even better now.
Light rain. Just enough so that you have to use the wiper. Do you think they have settings on the wiper?
Same guy doesn't want chaos at the U.S. Open. I don't understand you sometimes, David. No carnage at the U.S. Open. Let's have them shoot 16 under, but let's make sure we have rain for the NASCAR race.
No, I don't want 16 under. I just don't want 7 over to win. That's all. I don't want Hale Irwin at Wingfoot in 74. That's all.
So that's a little bit of what's coming up this weekend. A little talk on NASCAR in Chicago. We had a little talk on the Marlins. We will talk NIL in the 8 o'clock hour with Dan Lusk and try to get up to date with everything that's going on with the new, rules that the NCAA is trying to institute, even though the states have completely different laws. We'll get to the bottom of that next hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
DC, I love Rain-X. I love me some Rain-X on my windshield.
Count starts at midnight. Michael, you going to keep track of that for us?
Homicides where?
Chicago.
Chicago. Good. That's great. Awesome.
No, I am not. I'm taking Mother's Taxi.
That's what I say. You need a ride to the airport? Oh, yeah. Canada. Go-karts are fun. What's the name of that really popular go-kart? It's like a chain almost.
What are you talking about?
It's like an indoor go-kart racing chain almost. Oh, man.
There was Monaco GPs that were all over the country forever. But that wasn't indoors.
Someone help me. I want to go go-kart racing. Where do you go? I also, for Christmas one year, I was like 11. I got one of those. So Razor, the company that makes the scooters, they made a go-kart, a little go-kart electric one that had drifting tires. And man, was I a demon in my neighborhood with that thing.
Hello? Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah?
Okay. Oh, I've just been talking to you for 20 seconds and no
I had my headsets off for the last little bit because he
Gotcha.
started talking about, I'm trying to read an article and he's talking about wanting to find a go-kart track and I don't really give it. I got an NIL interview coming up. There's a lot of crap going on. I'm trying to figure out, so I'm intelligent. And I got this one talking about a go-kart.
It was K1 speed. That's what it was.
That's fantastic. What did you need, David? I apologize.
No. I was wondering, can we go back to the Marlins?
Sure.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits 1 hour from now in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Marlins are 14 games over 500. There's only 2 other times in franchise history that they'd ever been 14 games over 500 in a season. Those seasons were 1997 and 2003. Mark, how did those seasons end?
World Series champions.
Now, none of us are going to pick the Marlins to win the World Series. Of course, if you want to, have a joke, you could say since all the Florida teams have been coming in second, okay, you can pick them to lose in the World Series. But our poll question today is, all right, they've been a little over their skis. Are they going to make the playoffs? 500 ball from here on in wins you 88 games. 88 was enough to make the playoffs last year in the National League. Do we think, A, they can play 500 ball the rest of the way? And B, do you think it'll be good enough?
I do. I think 88 games will be just enough, David.
So how did you answer our poll question? Are they going to make the playoffs, yes or no? Wow, you're torn.
I really am, because I'm rooting for them. I'm starting to really enjoy watching them play.
Totally.
I can get sucked in. I'm going to say yes, because I don't think the Padres are going to figure out what's going on. And I think the Padres and the Phillies are their 2 biggest, obviously, adversaries. The Phillies much closer to catching them. But I think that they can play 500 baseball the rest of the way.
All right. The Phillies have gotten their act together. The Phillies at the beginning of the month got swept in a 3-game series by the Mets. Since then, they've been outstanding. The Phillies are 4 games behind the Marlins, 3 in the loss column. They're 43 and 37. Phillies play 500 ball. They win 84 games. Phillies still have a negative run differential. Marlins run differential's even, by the way. 14 games above 500. They've scored as many runs as they've given up. That's unusual. Statistically, the Marlins should be much closer to 500.
The Phillies and Marlins were the 2 best pitching teams for the month of June. Marlins ERA was sub-3 for the month of June.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Considering the Rockies ERA was over 6.5.
But I don't think that the Marlins, this is the one thing why I'm saying yes, is that I think the Marlins pitching will stay consistent. I don't think it's going to be sub-3 for the rest of the season, obviously, but I think their pitching's good enough to keep them from having a long losing streak, to keep them from going into a funk.
The Marlins have been very clutch with a K, as we like to say here on this show, because the Marlins are barely averaging 4 runs a game. They've scored 334 runs in 82 games. 82 times 4 is 328. So, I mean, the Marlins, I don't even think they're averaging 4.1 runs a game. So and even though their offense is tremendously improved this year compared to the last couple, Mark, if we were to look at this team, if you're Kim Ang, you've got limited resources. You probably have one significant deal you can make between prospects you want to give up and payroll you want to bring on. I think the Marlins need to go get another bat.
100%. They've been doing this unlike most teams in baseball. They are producing runs. They don't hit a ton of home runs.
Right.
If they could find a power bat, that would be outstanding.
I'll give you a reason why I also think the Phillies are going to catch the Marlins. The Phillies have only played 35 home games. They've played 45 road games. Phillies are a much better team at home than they are on the road. And they're obviously going to have it flipped. They're going to play 10 more home games the rest of the way than they are road games. Marlins have played the exact same number home and away, for what it's worth. By the way, they're above 500 on the road. That's a sign of a good team.
I think the one part of this, and David, the Phillies very well may catch Miami. I think you have to look at the Giants being over their skis as well.
Yes.
The Giants in a division with the Padres, the Dodgers, and Diamondbacks, and I know we're not playing as many divisional games, but I do think that the Giants are another team you can look at and go, okay, are they going to be able to keep on keeping on?
And the Giants got off to a very nondescript start. They called up a couple of their top prospects in mid-May, and they have been just tearing the cover off the ball for the last 6-7 weeks as a team. They're plus 42 in run differential. They're 9 games above 500 at the midway point of the season. And Mark, to me, that's the Diamondbacks, by the way, have the same record as the Marlins. Like, for those of us like me that think the Dodgers are going to catch the Diamondbacks, they're 2 back, 1 in the loss column. Arizona and Miami are each 48 and 34. So if I think the Dodgers are going to catch and pass Arizona, then Arizona becomes a wild card contender against the Marlins. Because none of us think the Marlins are taking on the Braves. In fact, I think after the Braves win this series this weekend, we can officially put the check mark, before the 4th of July, that the Braves have won the East, considering they're 6 up on the Marlins, 7 in the loss column. But put it this way. Marlins play 500 baseball the rest of the way. They win 88 games. Do you know what the Padres would have to do to catch the Marlins? They'd have to go 51 and 30 just to catch them.
That's the same thing. And, anybody, if you actually think, because the Cubs have a positive run differential and their record, they should be better than their record based on the run differential. They're not going to be able to pull off those kinds of numbers. The Mets aren't going to be able to pull off those kinds of numbers.
Mets would have to be even better. They're a game behind the Padres. They'd have to go 52 and 29 just to catch the Marlins if they play 500 ball. And the Marlins, by the way, 4.5 games ahead of whichever you consider the second place team in the Central to be. Brewers and Reds are tied. Marlins are 4.5 up on both for a playoff spot. This basically comes down to, first off, do you think the Phillies are going to catch and pass the Marlins? I do. Marlins are 4 up on the Phillies, 3 in the loss column, half a season ago.
I think the Phillies will be right there with the Marlins. I think the Marlins are battling the Giants for the playoff spot. I really do, David.
So 3rd place team in the East versus 3rd place team in the West.
Yes.
That's why just keep banking these wins, baby. Just don't look at the standings. Just keep banking the wins. 500 balls, 88. Right now, I think we'd all bet if 90 you're in, right?
Oh, yeah.
So 500 balls, 88. Felipe, my $20. Marlins playing 500 ball the rest of the way, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's got the Marlins jersey on right now.
Here's
Of
the
course
thing.
he's saying yes.
I think that you guys aren't realizing that maybe the Marlins are just good.
Well, no, hold on. They're playing good. Okay? Their run differential's even. They're not as good as their record. You have to acknowledge that. They're not. They're not. They're not a deep team. They're not even a deep staff. They can't afford many more injuries. They have 2 veteran starters who have combined for 5 starts. Okay? Thank goodness for the 20-year-old Yuri Perez. They've really needed him, and he's been amazing.
Right. They started slow and now they've progressively gotten better. But I think that throughout this season, a lot of guys for them have emerged.
Right, but can they keep it up? Because, I mean, let's face it, the reason Jorge Soler is on the Marlins is because he's never been able to consistently put it together for 162 games. I mean, he hasn't. He's had great runs. Hell, he had a great moment in the postseason before. But he has not been a consistent player for 6 months. And they are going to be playing games, Felipe, that they've never played before. These guys have never played a pressure baseball game before. They haven't. They've never played a meaningful game in the second half of the season unless they were on that bubble team from 3 years ago who did manage to get into the playoffs at 32-28. But a lot of these guys have never played a meaningful game, and they're going to play them, in theory, coming up.
How important do you think it is for whether or not a baseball team is good or not, for a good club room vibe?
Well, if you're playing well, you have a good vibe.
Right, a good vibe around the clubhouse, you know? That's what the Marlins have.
Yeah, but won all the one-run games.
Yeah, because they're winning.
It's just winning.
Yeah.
These guys really like playing alongside each other and watching each other.
Okay. And then we'll see how the vibe is when they lose 5 of 6. Listen,
You're right.
Not to put too much on a series. A week from tonight, they host the Phillies for 3. And then 3 weeks later, they host them for 4.
And you know what I think they're thinking? That day couldn't get here any sooner.
Yes.
I think they're excited. I think they're ready.
I agree.
Let's just see if they can win us. If they win a series against the Braves, then they're a good baseball team. It doesn't mean they're a bad baseball team if they lose a series. But then come back and take 3 or 4 from the Cardinals. They're one of the worst teams in the National League.
I'm okay with them losing 2 out of 3 of the Braves.
That's
but
what I
like
was gonna
Mark
say.
said, they
Take
then
one.
have to
I'll be fine with that.
But then they have to come home and take 3 out of 4 from the Cardinals. And then you're looking at the Phillies and it's like, well, okay, let's battle this out here over the next 3 weeks. Who's the second best team in the East? Let's go.
They've got another little soft spot on their schedule coming up. Yeah, they have the Phillies and the Orioles in there, but they've got 2 series with the Cardinals. They've got the Rockies. They got a 2-gamer with the Rays, and they got 3 with the Tigers in the month of July. They've got an opportunity here to continue to play above 500 baseball.
But there's already been a successful road trip. I mean, we said Boston, Atlanta, they had to go no worse than 3-3. Well, they're 3-0. Hell, we had the voice of the Marlins on yesterday. That's what he was saying. Let's sweep, get 1 in Atlanta, come home 4-2 road trip. I'll take that for the rest of the year.
Start looking in terms of weeks as opposed to series, is what he said. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Dan Lust to talk NIL in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, Felipe, you ready? You ready?
Yes.
I say we do a live show Thursday, August 3rd. Marlins hosting the Phillies, the final game of a 4-game series. It's a mighty nooner.
August 3rd.
August 3rd, it's a Thursday.
That works for me.
To be serious here, the Marlins have 7 against the Cardinals, 3 against the Rockies, 3 against the Tigers in July. But they're August, Felipe. Phillies, Texas, Cincinnati, the Yankees, Houston, the Dodgers, the Padres. They do have 3 with the Nats, but then they have 2 with the Rays. August is their Baton Death March. And boy, do they play the Braves in down the stretch.
I have dreamed of this. I mean, obviously,
They only have 3 left with the Braves. Sorry. They've already played them 10 times. They only have 3 games left with the Braves. That's good. Well, after this weekend, I should say. Sorry. You have dreams, you were saying.
Yes, because you have seen how crazy Miami crowds can get in those big moments, whether it be Hurricanes football teams that are incredible, or Miami Heat teams that are incredible, or Dolphins teams that are incredible. For that atmosphere to be replicated into this new stadium, I mean, that's what it was built for. You don't build a stadium to lose. You do it to win and to fill it up and to pack that house with the roof open, closed, whatever.
Felipe, do you ever think the Marlins will play a game in that stadium that looks like the recent World Baseball Classic?
If they make the World Series, yes. It won't have that same vibe, obviously.
But see, my question would be, what if it's a big late September series? I mean, no offense. Every fan base in the world would show up in the World Series.
But that's what's important about these next coming games, is that will be the case for those late games if they can keep getting it done. And I'm telling you, I think there will be a great turnout for this weekend series. Or next week.
You mean next week?
Next weekend series against Philly. And if they're 14 games over 500 by August 3rd, I still think that it might be even better. I've just always hoped that something like this would happen, and it might actually be finally happening. And it makes me very satisfied.
By the way, Mark, quickly to wrap this up, 7 against the Cardinals. Marlins have 7 against the Cardinals, 3 against the Rockies, 3 against the Tigers in July. Their August schedule is...
No, after that, they don't have really an easy series.
No, I mean, they got a couple series against the Nats the rest of the way, and that's it.
That's it.
You know, unless you consider the Mets are going to be easy series.
Oh, wait, back-to-back home series against, you go Yankees, then Astros. That.
Ooh. Yeah, but I mean, in August, they got to play the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Rangers. I had it anyway.
Yeah, I've looked at it
Rays.
times. Yeah,
their August is going to be the money month, Felipe, for the Marlins. Mark, Thursday, August 3rd, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Nooner, Marlins hosting the Phillies at 12:10.
Hey, maybe I'll go. See if somebody wants to go with me. Felipe will be working.
No, not that Thursday. I don't work Thursdays and Fridays.
Oh.
My week schedule is Saturdays through Wednesdays. And then I work Saturday and Sunday from 3:30 p.m. to midnight.
Kennel wouldn't take the dog.
Oh, because the bandages? Uh-oh.
I was just going down to the hospital where my wife works.
Gotcha.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We'll talk a little NIL coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. Hey, NBA free agency begins in less than 10 hours, 6 o'clock tonight. If you're the GM of a team, first off, just a blanket question, and then depending on your answers, we'll go from there. Are you interested at all in James Harden and Kyrie Irving?
I'm not.
So
I am, believe it or not, I am actually more interested in Kyrie Irving.
Well, we know you've been fascinated by Kyrie's talent, and listen, I can't mock you because I love me my diva wide receivers. So I can't get on your case. So Mark, you're out. We're in the room. We're talking.
I'm more out with Harden, and I'm on Felipe's side. If I'm interested in any of them, it's Kyrie.
Okay. So now we'll talk Kyrie. You're the boss. I'm trying to talk you into. Listen, we need Kyrie. I heard an interesting discussion yesterday. At least I thought so. So they were saying, listen, can't trust these guys. Cannot give these guys any contract of any length because you just can't trust them. And that he was guessing that the market is going to show that Harden and Kyrie can't get these 4 and 5 year, $250 million deals that they're looking for. What this particular commentator was saying, why don't you just go 1 year at a time for the rest of your career if you're Harden and Kyrie? You can get more per year if you do it 1 year at a time. That if you want to try to make it be 4 and 5 years, they're going to lower your AAV. But if you actually just have a little bit of guts to do it 1 year at a time, Harden's what, 33? Kyrie's 30, 31?
Smaller pay scale, but it's what J.J. Redick did at the end. He was just a mercenary that went to the highest bidder for 4 or 5 years.
Right. And
different player. He wasn't at the top end of your money, but
right, because if they would go that route, it would be just the James Harden tour, the Kyrie tour.
Well, and what is it that you would be dangling over these guys? You're playing for your contract every year, but we're paying you, by the way. Like Harden's option that he just picked up to force a trade is 35.6. So you guys are more interested in Kyrie than Harden. What if I just say I'm a team and I can afford 40? Could I talk you into offering Kyrie 1 year for 40?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Now that's just offer because remember, he could say yes. Okay. So now he may say, and obviously at first he's going to say no, I want more years. And okay, fine. Good luck. Okay. But instead it's kind of like, hey, do 1 year for 40.
If I'm Miami, I'd offer him 1 year.
Well, now that is the most fascinating discussion because now it's a question of, can the most anti-Heat culture players be transformed because they'd be brought into the Heat culture, or would they absolutely destroy 30 years worth of work by Riley?
That would never happen.
Okay.
One man not capable.
Okay. All right. Felipe, no offense. You've not been around long enough. Trust me. A great culture can get blown. One guy can blow up a team. There are 812 instances of it. One guy can do it. And I'm just wondering, Mark, your gut feeling, okay? You said, yeah, I'm open to Kyrie. Okay, you're Pat Riley. I'm Spo. And I go, well, Pat, if you're open to him, How about we unload Lowry in his 30, and maybe we unload Duncan Robinson in his 18, and so that's 48 million we free up. And I'll tell you what, I want to offer most of that to Kyrie for just a year, though. Do you fire me and punch me?
No, I don't. I don't think Kyrie would sign a 1-year deal under any circumstances. Okay, well, got to say that we're
no, absolutely right. And I certainly don't think he signs it on July 1st, July 2nd, July 3rd. Okay, but
to your point, David, there is a growing sentiment out there that there is no market out there for Kyrie right now.
Correct. He has less of a market than apparently DeAndre Hopkins has.
And that Kyrie's trying to manufacture his market.
Right.
Trying to create an illusion that there actually is a market for him when most people don't think that, most NBA people do not think that there is right now. They think he's going to end up back in Dallas because that's the only team that's going to offer him significant money.
And they're negotiating against themselves, though.
Yes.
1 year, would you do it as an organization? 1 year, 40. Let's just say that it works. 1 year, 45 million for Kyrie.
I love the put up or shut up type of contract.
Felipe, if you're the Heat, you got to lose Lowry and I'm assuming Robinson. Okay, they would be gone. Also, there's no guarantee. You probably wouldn't bring back Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. Just so you know, to make this financially work, we probably lose those 4 guys. But you return, obviously, Butler, Bam, and Tyler Hero.
For Kyrie Irving?
1 year.
Yes.
Okay.
And here's the thing. We talked about the bad apple situation. I don't think he would be a bad apple.
Okay. Can I just give you a recent example? So last year, he's in Brooklyn. And remember, he had the anti-Semitic stuff, and then, he sat out, and he's been a problem for 2 years. And they get his head's right, and Durant gets hurt, and Kyrie takes over the team, and they go 18-2. And he's arguably the best player in the league for 6 weeks. He was amazing. Amazing. He then goes to management and says, hey, can we finally work out the long-term deal? And management said, Kyrie, come on now. We've stood by you for 3 years, and it hasn't been roses. Can you just finish out the year with KD? Okay. And trust me, we'll take care of you. But, come on now. It's been 20 games. It's been 6 weeks. And at that moment, Kyrie said, well, I'm done with you. Trade me. That was it. He gave him 6 weeks. He was arguably the best player in the league. They went 18-2. Okay. They didn't give him what he wanted. Okay, what's to say midway through 1 year for 45 million, he doesn't go upstairs to Riles and say, hey, come on now. I'm amazing. I'm the best player on the team. Come on, let's do a little 3 year, 135 million. And Riley goes, Kyrie, we told you. We'll talk about it at the end of the year. And Kyrie goes, hey, Pat, take those rings and shove it. And you don't think he'll do it? He told LeBron James to shove it.
Who do you think he has more respect for? Do you think Kyrie has that much respect for a Pat Riley? Do you really think
Kyrie loves the Heat? Or he loves Miami. He likes the city of
all
Miami.
The players love Miami.
Right, but Kyrie likes Miami.
But I'm just saying.
So a guy who has no respect for any authority will get it automatically for Pat Riley because you think the Heat culture is that much.
How many rings have the Brooklyn Nets won? Do they have championship background?
Felipe, listen, take Kyrie at his word, at your detriment. He grew up in Jersey. He said he grew up a Nets fan. He and KD orchestrated going to Brooklyn. This was where he wanted to go. He got the contract that he wanted. He acted like a blankety blank, and because he didn't get what he wanted at the moment that he wanted, he said, get me the blank out of here. And you think he's just going to say, oh, Pat, whatever you want, Pat. Whatever, Massa. Whatever you want, Massa. Are you really think Kyrie Irving is going to act like that?
If he wants to win, which I think he does, yes.
No, I don't. I think Kyrie wants to get paid. He got his ring.
He's got his ring.
Shot.
He's got his ring.
He got his ring.
You need me to bring out Herb here? You play to win the game.
He doesn't. You're acting like everybody plays to win the game. There are a lot of guys out there that play to get the money. You know what that other line is? It's called Show Me the Money, baby. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSBs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
If Kyrie didn't care about winning, then why did he team up with KD?
He wanted to play in Brooklyn. And
we wanted to play with Kevin Durant.
Yeah, it
Brooklyn
gives him a better chance of winning. But now he wants to get paired up with LeBron. You know, I mean, they all got their guys. I get paired up with you, get paired up with you, get paired up with you. Okay, no, come on, Felipe. There's two choices here.
You can't just
no, Felipe. It's A or B. What does he care about more, the cash or winning? It's very simple. A or B, cash or winning. Which do you think he cares about more?
At this point of his career,
cash or winning?
Cash.
By the way, when we ask you these questions, those are the answers: cash or winning.
At this point of his career, probably cash. But you can't just immediately take out winning from the equation, because you can win and collect cash.
Last year, he cared about cash more. 2 years ago, he cared about cash more. 3 years ago, he cared about cash more.
These NBA players are so rich. You can literally, wherever the hell Kyrie will end up, he'll
then if they're that rich, why is he going to only want to sign a long-term deal for the most money? Well, if money doesn't matter.
Well, I just answered your question because he cares about cash more. Obviously, you want to make more cash. But hell, you can make a lot of cash.
Listen,
how many of them just play for a lot of cash, but not the max?
Carmelo Anthony.
That's so one.
No,
one in the league.
A couple, but they
don't. That league is all that's the problem with that league. Guys don't take hometown discounts.
I mean,
you get a Brady that plays for peanuts for his whole career so the team could be good. It doesn't happen.
Dwayne Wade was universally celebrated because he took like $2 million less a year, which allowed LeBron and Bosh to get the max deals. And he was actually the third highest paid guy amongst the big three. And he was universally praised because he took $2 million less.
Yes.
And we can't come up with anybody else in the league who's done it.
Look.
No.
I
We're
just
waiting
think
for who else has done it.
I just think that, well, first of all,
answer a question with a question.
His mentor was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the ultimate winner. Kobe Bryant, in his last season of his career, was trying to win every game.
By the way, and listen, Kobe was amazing as a player. Kobe had a decision to make with 2-3 years left in his career. Okay. And he took the money. He said to the Lakers, he said, I delivered you the rings. Okay. I got 2-3 years left. I know I could take a lot less money and we could field a better team. But guess what? These are my last 2-3 years. You're paying me the max.
But Kyrie is 32, 33. When Kobe was 32, 33, he was winning championships. You have to compete to win championships.
If Kyrie was serious about winning, okay, he would go to the Milwaukee Bucks and he would say, how much can you afford? And they'd say, we probably got about $24 million here. He said, fine, I'll sign a 1-year deal here.
No. If he cared about winning, he'd go to the Heat.
Which, by the way, the Heat right now have $1.37. Okay, at least Milwaukee just took Chris Middleton off their books.
Well, Middleton's a free agent. He could.
Right, but the thought was he was going to opt
Middleton.
But the thought was, well, first off, if you're Milwaukee, Chris Middleton for a year or Kyrie for a year?
Chris Middleton. They won a championship with him. They won a championship with him.
For 1 year, I would take Kyrie at this stage. Plus, Middleton's coming off a knee injury. Didn't look anything like the same player. Yeah, but Canada relief, we were talking about NBA. And by the way, the Mannings never left $1 on the table. Both Peyton and Eli. Not a dime did they ever leave on the table.
Dan's on hold. I want Kyrie. I'll say that.
I know you do.
Well, we know. We know.
Him and Jimmy, whew, and Bam, whew. Man, that's got a championship written all over it.
Over under 8.5. The games Kyrie suspended for in this 1 year with the Heat.
And not suspended by the league, suspended by the Heat.
They'd have to call Haslam out of retirement, so we got to put you on the roster. Why? Because we need an employee to kick his butt. If you do it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Our final segment of the week along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. He's Dan Lust. He's been kind enough to join us before. He's co-host of the Conduct Detrimental podcast, a tremendous sports legal podcast, Conduct Detrimental. He's also a professor at New York Law School. You can follow him on Twitter, Sports Law Lust. Sports Law Lust, L-U-S-T. Dan, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Hope you have a good 4th holiday, by the way. How are you?
I'm good. We'll just say this week was a nice and calm week. Was looking forward to a nice weekend. And then, S hit the proverbial fan.
Okay, Dan, help us out here. You're an attorney. So when you heard that the NCAA is saying to its member institutions, hey, our bylaws outrank state law, what was your first reaction?
My first reaction, truthfully, is that we've been here before. We were here, it wasn't that long ago. It was about, 2 years ago. So people just to have some context, right? The NIL era has only really been around for about 4 years. And California passed fair pay to play in November of 2019. And that was a state law that said that in-state schools are not allowed to punish athletes for accepting some form of compensation. So, we were here, right? 25 states passed some version of that law in the state. And what did the NCAA do after about a year and a half of pressure? They waived that bylaw. So fast forward, we're now 2 years into, since then. And now states start passing a new law, which says not that you can't punish student athletes for accepting compensation. The new law essentially says it's a handful of states that have it. New York, Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Colorado, they're all making their way up. And the law is that you cannot punish a school for helping student athletes get NIL opportunities. And that's, for whatever reason, seems to be one that the NCAA wants to put their foot down on. So I found it odd that the NCAA wants to put their foot down here. It just seems like some odd timing on my part.
Okay. What do you do if you're the school, in Texas where, what do you do right now if they're telling you to obey these laws? Because it seems that as if you don't have to. I mean, in simplest terms, what jurisdiction does the NCAA have over these schools? Do they still have it?
Yeah, I mean, the NCAA's memo is interesting, and people can find it. We're looking at question 6, the 6-point memo. It says essentially, if you're going to stay as a voluntary member of our association, you have to abide by our rules. So what the NCAA is essentially saying is if you don't like our rules, you can leave. Now, no one in their right mind thinks that any school is going to leave the NCAA right now. No, it's not realistic. But if you're a school like Texas A&M, I think, their AD had some interesting comments somewhat recently. And he said, we intend to be compliant with the state law. So, I think you're setting up for a battle with some of these states, be it Texas A&M or Texas or Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, where I don't feel like those schools are going to feel inclined that they have to listen to the NCAA rules. So it is somewhat of a game of chicken. It's, the schools are daring the NCAA to issue some type of punishment, and these schools can challenge it in court, to the extent that the state law allows it. So, I guess put it this way, right? And this is when you first asked the question, this is where I wanted to make sure I pointed out. We're now basically 2 years into the NIL era, and we are all familiar with college sports enforcement era, with schools being put on probation and giving the death penalty and getting suspensions and losing scholarships. Do you know how many times that has happened in the NIL era? I mean, maybe once with the Cavender twins over by you guys at the University of Miami women's basketball. That's out of thousands of student athletes, hundreds of schools doing NIL deals, and they found one violation. So, you either think this is the dawn of the enforcement era, or you think it's a bluff intended to try to buy time while the NCAA continues to work on the federal bill. So I think a lot of these schools, just like I told you, last time we had about 20 states pass a state law that conflicted with NCAA rules in a meaningful way. The NCAA waved the white flag. So I think if you're a school, this is not my advice, but I think some of the schools are probably thinking, you know what, let's see if the NCAA does anything, and they don't seem inclined to.
Miller and Moulton, Dan Lust joining us right now.
Co-host of the Conduct Detrimental podcast, a professor at New York Law School and Fordham Law. Follow him on Twitter, Sports Law Lust. Dan, if I called you up, I'm an athletic director, and I called you up. I said, I need your best legal opinion. Who's going to win this? Okay, me abiding by my state law or the NCAA's bylaws? Which do you think has the greater legal standing, first and foremost?
Well, in a vacuum, I guess this is a little bit of federalism, right? The federal law, if they ever pop in, that's going to trump the rules of the state to the extent it's something directly on point. And same is true with respect to a state law. There's a state law and it's valid and enforceable. It's going to trump the rules of a private association to the extent it's kind of on all fours, or they're diametrically opposed to one another. So, I think here the NCAA is going to somewhat of an uphill battle. That's why I tweeted this out. But I'd put the states as the early betting line favorite. I don't know who's going to win, because I have to hear what the NCAA's argument is going to be. Obviously, some lawyer behind the scenes advised them that this was an okay tactic. But they're going to have to show that this law, these state laws, as applied to the NCAA, as applied to its member schools, are unlawful. I have a hard time seeing how the NCAA makes that argument, especially from an antitrust perspective. The NCAA is telling people, these are our rules. If you don't like it, you can leave. And remember, right, there's no other college sports show in town. It's not like you can leave and go to, right, the ABA versus the NBA or the USFL and the NFL or Live Golf, right? We've had that conversation on the antitrust level. There's no competitor. So for the NCAA to tell them, these are our rules, if you don't like it, leave, that's going to raise some concern. So if I'm a betting man, which I think you guys know at this point I am, I would put the schools as a slight to medium favorite on the early betting lines, depending on what the NCAA's argument comes up with there.
Will this end up back in the Supreme Court? I mean, the NCAA already lost embarrassingly the first time. Is this something that will end up back before the court again?
I don't think you can ever predict that the case is going to get to the Supreme Court because very few do. We got actually almost three cases now heading up to the courts. We have the EA Sports case, which is a big one people are following. We have a case out in California, House versus NCAA, which is about the definition of NIL. Johnson versus NCAA case over in Pennsylvania about unionization. You have those cases working their way up. They're going to take years. Could this end up in a Supreme Court? Sure. Could this end up in a courtroom? 100%. It could. But I think it's a little too early to say that this case will get all the way up there, and we'll see. We'll see, guys. I don't want to take for granted that the NCAA has bluffed about this before. We're now 4 months into this Charlie Baker era, the new president of the NCAA, and everyone around our space thought that would be the start of the enforcement era as of March 1st. We've got nothing since March 1st, with no punishments, no nothing. And I've seen reports that up to 12 schools were under investigation as of earlier this year. I haven't heard anything about that. So, either this is really going to be the dawn of the enforcement era, or this is just a bluff to, try to scare some schools off and slow down the NIL era. So I'm not even sure that this, could it get to a court? I'm sure it could. But that's going to entail the NCAA actually following through on their threat, which I'm not sure of at this point.
Dan, another part that we're a little confused by, we understand that the NCAA and the schools do not want their student athletes, and we use that phrase loosely, to be employees. And quite frankly, the athletes may not want it either because of the tax ramifications, et cetera. But the bill that Mencken and Tuberville are pushing, apparently with Charlie Baker and the NCAA behind them, is all the NILs would have to be directly connected to the university. Okay, there would be no line of separation. Doesn't that then make the people making the money employees?
He's certainly getting close. I think, and this is to your point. I mean, right now these state laws are seemingly designed to help with that. It's not going to be directly one-to-one tied, NIL tied to school, but these state laws are designed to have the schools facilitate in the process. So it could be other players, but it's not 100% school and then no collectives, but there's some version where the schools are involved. To your point about if the school is solely involved and they're the sole ones paying out athletes in some way, shape, or form, does that raise an issue on an employment level? And I think you probably get a little bit closer to it. I don't know if you get quite all the way there, but the other part, which I don't think I mentioned to you guys when I was on a couple weeks back, there's an issue, and I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but if you start saying that the schools and the schools alone have to be the only ones that are paying out athletes, then you run this kind of Title IX analysis. Right now, NIL money is largely going to football and men's basketball. Obviously, some exceptions around the country, but those are your main two. And the way that that's done is because the schools aren't paying out that money. They have some plausible level of deniability, and it's going through the collectives or donors or whatever else. If the schools are 100% tied to that money, the money's going to have to be paid out in a much more, we'll say, balanced allocation between men and women's sports. So, there's some logistical problems with that federal bill. So we'll see if it makes its way up. But I see some issues with it.
He's Dan Lust. He's co-host of the Conduct Detrimental podcast, a tremendous sports legal podcast, professor at New York Law and Fordham Law. Follow him on Twitter, Sports Law Lust, L-U-S-T, Sports Law Lust. We said it earlier, Dan, we mean it. Thank you for your time. Have a great 4th of July holiday. And, I have a feeling we'll be talking before Labor Day because something will happen.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime. Enjoy.
Dan Lust, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. I know we spend too much time on this issue for most of our audience. I know. I'm telling you, though, we're in the right by doing it. This is the biggest damn thing in college athletics. This really is. However college athletics are going to look like in the late 2020s is all going to be because of NIL.
And as Dan pointed out, the NCAA is essentially playing a game of chicken with NIL because they've not enforced a damn thing.
Well, we joked about it. I mean, how this Charlie Baker guy is a politician, so he gets the job. Okay. And he's like, hey, I want to talk to my enforcement department. He's like, well, they're out on lunch. Well, what do you mean? They're all of them? They're out on lunch? Well, we got 3 guys. I mean, it's like that scene from Charlie Wilson's War that we love so much. Who's working on the Afghanistan? Me and 3 other guys.
Want to kill some Russians? Me and 3 other guys. Exactly. You want to take down NIL? Me and 3 other guys. That's how we're going to do it. And I don't know if it's, and we don't know if it's 3.
Right. I mean, if you really want some enforcement, call Charles Robinson of Yahoo. He knows more than we do.
Absolutely crazy. But you are right, David. It is what college sports will look like going forward. We just don't know how it's going to look.
Right. I mean, the whole conference realignment, when that gets done, and then NIL, what the rules are. Mm-hmm. By the way, I love Heidi's dad in our Twitch chat room. No. You didn't spend too much time on this. You spent too much time on Kyrie. That funny. I like that.
And the part of this that I'm still trying to figure out with more on what Tuberville and laws is of having the schools control it, how they're not employees.
Right. I don't know why the schools want that. Why?
And the Title IX that Dan just brought up.
Oh, that's it. It doesn't work. If you connect the NILs directly to the university, then, Title IX is all about scholarship money. I mean, you can't be
scholarship money.
Right. Depending on your student athlete ratio, you'd have to get rid of like 12 men's sports and still throw a bunch of money at the remaining women's sports in order for this to work. I mean, 2 basketball players and 2 gymnasts are not going to make up for all the money not going to women's athletes in the whole rest of the country.
So I have no idea where it goes. And the NCAA is looking at Washington for help, which seems to be the worst idea that could ever be imaginable.
Name me a problem. Honestly, I'd be Charlie. Can I call you Charlie?
Hey,
Charlie. Chuck, you were in politics. Name me a problem Washington has made better in the last 30 years. I'll hang up and listen.
And yet the NCAA seems to be hell-bent on getting Washington to be their biggest helper. We find it interesting, to say the very least. Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte. We'll be back on Wednesday. A couple of best of shows to start the week next week on Monday and on 4th of July, Tuesday. David and Felipe will close out the rest of the week. I will be taking a vacation.
Good for you.
I can't wait.
Although, actually, Mark's spending it. He may be calling in on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how the vacation goes.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said,
Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet sounding shades away.
It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Coach Grizzle, certain high schools have already been dealing with the NIL money and boosters for a long time. First off, I believe it was Catholic high schools in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
Oh, don't kid yourself. Right into the 80s. My favorite story, Hank Underwood, really good two-way athlete at my high school. All state, both football and basketball.
Oh, wow.
And Hank's, I didn't know this when I went to high school. Hank's mom took care of all the jerseys, did all the laundry for the football and I don't know about the football team, but for sure the basketball team. And that's how Coach Boyd paid Hank's tuition. And the last bit of cash came, and it was about $400 more than it was supposed to be. And Hank was friends with my buddy's brother. Hank was a senior. I was a freshman. Hank was like, I don't know. I just thought I had a good year.
Have either one of you ever been to Hawaii?
No.
I would love to go to Hawaii. I just feel like they live life so much better.
My buddy just bought a house there a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, he's done pretty well in life. He owns a house in Maui, so maybe I'll get the invite one day.
I feel like life just has to be so much better there.
Uh-oh. An outrage in New York. The Knicks got rid of their longtime equipment manager. He's been there over 30 years.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oh, no.
By the way, just because I didn't see it because I don't watch MSNBC, but I did, the first thing on the post about Biden walking out of the interview. Love the line of the MS. Don't go anywhere, the host says. As he's leaving, don't go anywhere. As Biden's walking behind her. That is just too great. Every part of that's fantastic.
Did you see where Vinnick sold his interest in the company that he started there that developed everything around the arena?
Oh, no, I did not.
He's 64 years old. He's got a new grandchild. He says, quality time remaining, QTR. Somebody introduced me to that recently, and I'm buying it.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour for Miller and Moulton, our final show before the 4th of July. We'll have best ofs on Monday and Tuesday. And for the many of you that are traveling this 4th of July holiday, be safe, be well, have fun, including you, Mark Miller. That applies to you too. I don't want you calling in on Wednesday and Thursday because the vacation's gone to you-know-what in a handbasket.
David, you know me pretty well.
I do.
And it was a fun little bit to say that I might call in on Wednesdays. You know for a fact that there's no chance of me calling in next week.
None.
Yeah.
In fact, the phone could ring.
Yeah. I thought you were crazy for saying
The
that.
only thing I will do is because there is technical things, and Felipe just had to refresh himself and I had him set up my side this morning. Like, he's got some work things coming up that I'll probably do his side a couple of days in the next couple of weeks just to make sure I know how to do it still. So I had Felipe set up this morning to make sure he could still remember how to do everything. I will be awake Wednesday morning in case Felipe runs into problems at around 5:30. Other than that, that's all I'm giving you. 3-4 minutes on Wednesday morning.
Looking at your phone from 5:30 to 5:59, and if it doesn't ring, you're like, okay, good luck.
We're good.
And then once we get on the air Wednesday, you'll be like, well, they don't need me Thursday and Friday.
There you go.
I will try my best. Make sure that does not happen.
I'm just worried he doesn't oversleep, which he hasn't done in forever. But next week would be a bad time.
No, it's I've gotten to the point where I don't look for the way we come into the building is we go around back. So you don't see anybody else's car until the very last, right before you park, because there are station vehicles in that parking lot as well. And when I make that turn, it's always is because he beats me here by a few minutes every morning. Is the mom car here? And as long as I see the mom car, I feel good.
You can breathe.
And I haven't had that worry in quite a while. You're starting your job. Next week I would have probably worried a little bit, but that 2 days off for you, much needed. By the way, are you you're back in the real world. You're the low end of the totem pole for the other job. It means you're working on the 4th of July, aren't you?
No, actually. It's funny because I'm
How?
I know. I'm so relieved that I'm not working on the 4th of July because I am the only person in my department that is not working on the 4th of July. Very happy.
So they already all hate you.
Well, no, they actually love me. But yes, they probably hate me.
On Wednesday, they're not going to like Tuesday, they're not going to like you very much.
That's very true. But no, I asked them, I said, am I working 4th of July? They kind of looked and they're like, you don't have to come in 4th of July. And I was like, oh, great.
Wow.
Like, but we're going to be here 4th of July. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, maybe on the 3rd, you can head to the Diamond District and get some of those Bose sunglasses.
There
Spend
you go.
$500 on your lady, and you can get the Bose sunglasses for free. Mention Miller and Moulton. You get an extra 10% off simply by going to the Diamond District for their great 4th of July specials.
You can't get a T-shirt from Miller and Moulton, but you can get 10% off of the Diamond District. That's all we're good for.
Right.
And really, it's not us. It's Todd and Jason, but we're taking credit for it.
I might need that 10%.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Considering we know what you make.
Right.
We know you need that 10%.
Yeah, might just need that 10%. On the Diamond District bonus hour.
In fact, you could
Miller
maybe
and
lobby
Moulton.
for 15%.
Yeah,
you
there
never
you go.
know.
Hey, I'm part of the show. What show? Oh, yeah, gotcha. All right, good. Listen, Mark, I can't believe you're going to be off for NBA free agency week. I mean, this is your favorite week of the NBA season coming up. It starts at 6:00 tonight.
Oh, this is just the perfect window for Mark to take off. Honestly.
No, Felipe. No, it's his favorite week in the NBA season. I am not kidding. He loves free agency week. And then literally, if he had 51% control of the show, he would pass an edict in which we didn't talk about the association again until I don't know, April.
That's about right. That's about right. Free agency and then get us to the playoffs.
Right. Hey, what are they seeded? What are the matchups?
It is true that the NBA probably does have the best off season because of all the drama.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Don't.
Free agency period.
No.
What?
No,
you don't think the NBA has the most dramatic free agency period?
No. They have a tremendous free agency period. All right. It is the second best in professional sports. It's outstanding. But
behind the NFL, of course.
Yes. Yes. 32 teams.
I never thought that you guys thought that. I always thought that you thought that the NBA had a better offseason, a more exciting offseason.
No, we
they
thought
have a more
next week's
exciting
great.
offseason than they have season.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Their offseason is more exciting than their regular. If the 3 seasons of the NBA are offseason, regular season, and playoff season, they rank in this order: playoff season, offseason, regular season. That's all.
But you enjoy speculating more than watching
the regular season? Yes.
But that's all this is.
You know what I do in the regular season? What I call it for me? It's my own personal load management.
Blah, blah, blah.
Nice. Very well played, Mark.
Jordan
well played.
Games in the
exactly. When I watched the league.
I know.
Felipe, here's the problem for the NBA. See, if they don't care about the regular season,
what makes you think that we will care about the regular season?
And we're not smart. I mean, that's been proven. It's been proven by who we elect to office. It's been proven by the teams we follow blindly and all the time and money that we spend on them. We're not smart. We're not. Okay. They have certain words for us. In politics, they call us constituents. Translated, bunch of dummies. Okay. In sports, they call us fans. Translated, bunch of dummies. I mean, but if in our dumbness, after a few years, when we realize that you guys don't play hard and you don't even play and you don't care, well, then why should we? Now, for the next week to 10 days, Felipe, I think all 30 organizations in the league care. I actually think they're working very hard, try to make their rosters better. The guys who then aren't going to play very hard for the next 8 months. But I think for the next week to 10 days, Felipe, teams are busting their butt.
And I will say from a free agent standpoint, we've paid a little more attention to Orlando, what they did in the second half. They've got a nice young core. They have the opportunity to really improve their team in free agency. I'm interested to see if the Orlando Magic make a move or two.
Are we, is the Miller Moulton show still on the Draymond to Orlando train?
If it could happen, it would be great. It's not going to happen. We never.
Why not?
Don't, because he's staying in Golden State.
Yeah, they chose him over Poole. Yeah.
That's done. And we never believed it was going to happen. We just made the case for why we would do it.
I actually think that there may be a slight chance for a couple of other teams out west. Like, believe it or not, Sacramento apparently is seriously considering offering him the deal that we thought Orlando would have to offer him to get him. Apparently Sacramento is like, how about we go 4 for 120 for Draymond and see if he bites? And if you look at their metrics, they could really use Draymond. They don't need a guy who needs the ball in his hand to score. They got 3 of those on the court at all times. And they're in the bottom quarter of the league defensively. And they have no idea how to win. They could really use Draymond Green.
And they lack toughness, David.
Right.
The Kings?
Yeah.
I don't know that they lack toughness.
I don't know.
They play hard, but they lack experience.
Well,
playing hard and playing tough are two different things. They give up 130 points a game defensively. They are not a tough team. They're a really good team. They're a really exciting team. They can score the basketball like nobody's business. That does not make them tough. The Florida Panthers, they just switched the
Florida Panthers.
But the Florida Panthers 2 years ago were not a tough team.
Now
they won the President's Cup. They made monumental changes and brought players in to make them a tougher team. That's all I am saying. Just because you have a really good regular season record does not mean you're a tough team. and that you're
Now-
built for the playoffs. That's
now,
all, Felipe.
I will say, Felipe, I keep waiting for Orlando to do something dramatic because I actually think they're one player away from being a 50-win team. They need a guard. They have a bunch of forwards and wings.
They have 7 million different guards, though.
But nobody who's any good.
Right.
They
No one that
don't.
sticks
They,
out.
they can't get. Paulo's not a guard. He's a forward.
Right. Cole Anthony and Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs won't cut it.
Well, they're not. I mean, they're pretty good. I mean, and I'm wondering, like, listen, we just spent too much time on them. Okay, but in all honesty, if you're Orlando, would you give Kyrie $40 million for a year?
No.
Kyrie
I
in
would not have him
Orlando.
around those players. Are you kidding me?
Let me mute
Okay.
my mic so I can vomit.
By the way, how about I think it's Houston or somebody who's considering like giving Fred Van Fleet like 2 years, 60 or 70 million. Short term, but big money. He was, I think, 18-7 last year was his year. And he shoots threes at around 40%. Put him on Orlando.
See, I could see that realistically happening.
Yeah.
Fred on Orlando or maybe even Houston.
So
Well, it seems like Houston's a foregone conclusion to everybody, and I don't get it. I don't know why is everybody running to Houston.
because they have
Now
cap
they got a
room.
new coach.
They're using the Rockets. Everybody's using the Rockets as leverage. Somebody will take their money because they've got a ton of it.
They got a ton of money. They have young players. They have
Yeah, but I mean, they're awful though. I mean, they're awful. They won
They
22
are.
games
They're
or whatever it was. It's like taking Detroit's money. You look at the roster, you go, "Wow, they should be pretty good." Yeah, they won 17 games. Speaking of Detroit, quick transition. The Red Wings last year finished above 500. They finished like within 10 points of making the playoffs, maybe 8. And their GM came out the other day and said, "Yeah, we're not a playoff team. We're not ready yet. Give me a year. A year from now, ask me the same question." You don't normally see GMs say that. It's like, what do you mean we're not a playoff team? We finished above 500, for goodness sakes. We finished like 7 points behind the team who went to the finals. What do you mean we're not a playoff team?
Because 99.9% of the GMs don't have their jersey up in the rafters in the building in which they are now the GM and have delivered that team multiple Stanley Cup championships. It's a hell of a lot easier for a Steve Yzerman to say that in Detroit than for GMs to say that damn near any other organization in sports.
Are you saying the second best player in franchise history, no worse than the third, okay, has leeway that other GMs don't have, Mark?
Bingo.
Okay.
Simply known up there as the captain, and everybody knows exactly who you're talking about.
Now, I love that kind of honesty. That's what I want from my GM. Even if I disagree with the GM, that's the kind of honesty I want.
7 years since they've made the postseason. That's tough. That's a bitter pill to take.
In Hockey Town?
Miller and Moulton. Was Travis Kelce right? We'll ask the question next.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yes, Paul, I've seen the NFL draft. Por atención, Paul. No tiene enemigos.
What?
Nadie tiene enemigos.
So we were fourth in English. This is the trends, but we were fourth in English-speaking stations. We got beat by Gator, B103, The Fly, and Bob.
Wait a minute. We beat 92.5?
We were tied with them. And our cume was much higher. Much higher. Our cume nearly doubled theirs.
What's Gator?
Gator Country. 107.9 country, I think.
Is that just Gator
Or 101.9, sorry. No, it's country music. Gator Country.
Oh, Gator. Oh. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Damn.
There's, by the way, Felipe, there's 150 Gator country stations around the country.
And I listen to not a single one of them because I don't like country music.
So Geraldo Rivera tweeted out he got fired from the 5. And so then he quit.
Not 5, was he?
I guess he was like a, they brought him in as a 3 times a week, guest. And so he quit Fox. 23 years tomorrow. Fox and Friends could be his last appearance on the network. He's in a boat somewhere.
David, the other sports station ranked 22nd. We ranked 7th. Our cume's 3 times. Our quarter hour persons is 3 times. Our cume is 4 times.
What is cume?
Number of people listening.
Gotcha. Can I take a gander at that paper when you're done? I'm curious.
The Onion's headline: NFL player suspended for violating DraftKings terms of use. It is so funny. I got in the car yesterday and whatever show was on, whoever was doing Greenie's show for him, they're going nuts about the Yankees' perfect game and how the Yankees are a contender. And wow, they're going to win the World Series. The New York slant when those hosts get a national show is amazing to me.
course, on First Take, we'll shift gears to Lakers talk.
Well, no, Get Up will do it. The next segment on Get Up will be, I guarantee you, when we go to the next segment, we're starting the good, the bad, and the ugly here. They'll be on Lakers. They opened with Harden.
Ten seconds.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Final two segments until after the 4th of July holiday. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, and some final thoughts and picks to come in about 20 minutes' time. Mark, you did an old school radio tease there.
I wanted to get into this story yesterday, and we just got going on other subjects. And then today we did the same thing. Probably would have better teased when we were along the network instead of in Todd and Jason's bonus hour here from the Diamond District.
Right. Spend $500, get a free pair of Bose glasses, and mention Miller and Moulton, get an additional 10% off.
There you have it.
Now through July 4th.
So Travis Kelce did an interview with Vanity Fair and said that basically the entire National Football League stoned. He estimates that anywhere from 50 to 80% of the NFL players are smoking weed.
Okay.
Think he's right?
You know, Wes Welker gave an interview a couple years ago in which he's like, listen, let me tell you what I had to do to play. And the beating I took and the concussions and, you know, and the weed helped with the concussions. And he's like, yeah, smoked it all the time. All the time.
And what he talks about is that they basically drug test these guys at the beginning of training camp and said, you know, basically quit smoking weed in July. You're fine. He says a lot of guys stop a week before and they still pass because everybody's working out in the heat and sweating their tail off. Nobody's getting hit for it anymore.
Well, I'm surprised they test for it.
I thought the league is no longer cracking down on that.
Bingo. They're not cracking down the way they once were. They're still claiming they test for it, but they're not. I don't know why I'm with you, David. I don't even know why they're testing for it.
I don't think they specifically test for marijuana, though.
Well, no, they drug test you and then they find what it is they find in your system. All right. But the reason I said I'm surprised is because when the NCAA, which they've done this month, when they have come out and said, yeah, I think we're done testing for weed. Well, hell, if they're done testing for it, what is a pro sports league doing still testing for it? Never mind, we can get into and how many states it's legal and, you know, for medical purposes. And I don't know about you, but if you played professional football and got hit by tractor trailers, which is what playing professional football is like, it's like running into a tractor trailer for a few hours. Okay. You might smoke a little weed too. Yeah, I'm just saying it's possible. And I've never touched this stuff, not once. Never taken a puff on a cigarette. I'm pretty sure if I played pro football, I'd be taking something.
So I just thought that was a pretty big, the 80%'s a number, though, that will grab people.
That seems a little high.
The 4 or 5 NFL players are pot smokers. I think that's a little high. I don't think it's a lot high.
I mean, it is like, you know, the 53-man roster. It's 42 guys who are, you know.
But if you were to tell me that it's 30 guys, I'd say, yeah.
Do you think there's a particular position group that favors it more than others?
Ooh. O lineman. No, D lineman.
I would say just offense or defense.
Defense.
I'd say defense for sure. Just because I don't think that every quarterback smokes.
By the way, Kelsey also said something else interesting. He said, I'm underpaid. And I don't disagree with him at all. I mean, especially now that Tyreek's not on that team. I mean, listen, Andy Reid's clearly a Hall of Fame coach and an offensive genius. And Patrick Mahomes probably could quit today and go into the Hall of Fame. But without Tyreek Hill, that wide receiving core, without if Travis Kelce got hurt and missed a month, look at that Chiefs offense. I don't care how great Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are. If you look at that personnel, if Travis Kelce sprains a knee and misses a month. But because he's on the Chiefs and they're doing a whole lot of winning, you know how many national endorsement deals Travis Kelce has?
A lot more than most Chiefs get, David.
He's got like 7.
And he's very much becoming a Gronk-like personality. I mean, they had the match last night, which people loved him. Got one text of someone that watches. Oh, I love Kelce. He was great. It was amazing. I didn't watch a shot. I didn't know it was on. The highlight to me when I found out this morning was that Charles Barkley told Ernie Johnson that he'd made the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame live on the air. That was a pretty cool moment. I watched that this morning and went, right on. They got to surprise Ernie with that. You got his actual reaction on the air. That was a great moment. The golf, not so much.
Hey, quick tangent, because obviously Barkley and Ernie and Shaq and Kenny, that show's very popular. The word in the industry is that Turner's going to lose a good chunk of their NBA deal. That ESPN's going to keep everything they have, and that NBC's coming over the top of Turner. And that Turner's going to be reduced to like one night a week. And maybe, no more Eastern Conference Finals on 4-letter network, Western Conference on TNT. That it may be, no, ABC, ESPN for one, and NBC and Peacock for the other. Or
Just
USA.
Record, you have completely ruined me. Go ahead and finish. But I can't even. I'm watching the U.S. Senior Open last night. It was on after the Rocket Mortgage. So I just U.S. Senior Open. Bigger tournament. Some names at the top. I'll leave this on for a little bit. Every damn time they mention Peacock, all I do in my head is go,
Peacock.
Yep. Then I walk around the house for a good 5 minutes after that going, damn, Moulton keeps saying
Peacock.
Yep.
Well, anytime I go home now, because they're scattered all over my neighborhood, I just Peacock. There's another one.
So, but if I'm the NBA, in all seriousness, do I don't want to lose that show. I mean, I'm not kidding. If Turner's no longer, as big a deal in the NBA, well, then, what? Tuesday nights, we're going to get Ernie, Shaq, Barkley, and Kenny Smith. That's it. They're doing one game a week. They don't have a major playoff package. I mean, Turner gets the better regular season games than ESPN.
I think it would hurt the NBA's overall numbers if they lose that show on a regular basis. A lot of people live for that pregame. And what they do with the postgame numbers we've talked about.
Well, what I'm wondering is, do you negotiate and say, like if you're NBC, do you say in the negotiations, if you're winning, look at Turner and go, we want your show? Well, no, you keep it whenever you're no. But when they're not doing for Turner, we want them. We'll pay them, by the way.
I would.
And if I'm the NBA, I want them. I don't want less Charles, Shaq, Kenny, and Ernie. Are you kidding? ESPN's had 20 years to come up with a show that people like. They haven't been able to do it. We think NBC is going to find a show that people like out of the blue? No. And I'm just wondering, could that be a part of a TV negotiations? And we'll gladly promote their Tuesday nights on Turner. Got no problem. Absolutely.
I just don't know if Chuck wants to be on
Peacock. Could be part of the negotiations, by the way. It's bad enough I'll be on USA Network, but I ain't never going to be on Peacock.
Yep, that's how I say it now. So thank you for that, David. Whenever they promote that, I don't listen to the next 30 seconds because in my head, all I have is you saying
Peacock.
Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when and what's on tap. How we finish things out right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Just say it in Miguel Angel Jimenez's
Jason and
voice.
Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said,
Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet sounding shades away.
It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, that's Fox. That's the other sports station.
Oh, there it is. The Harden segment.
Garrett? That's the second one. I have 5 minutes.
Let's do this.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we are out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You ready or are you mailing it in? Your mind already on the road?
I'm ready. I won't start drinking for another 22 minutes.
It's good to know.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1805, the Michigan Territory organizes. It'd take them another 60 years to become a state, or 30, 40 years to become a state, but they organized. Must have been like an HOA meeting, David.
Oh, well, then that didn't go well.
Today in 1864, the Yosemite Grant Act was signed by President Lincoln, bestowing 200,000 acres to the state of California, establishing America's first ever state-controlled park. 1929 at Winged Foot, Bobby Jones wins his third U.S. Open title in a 36-hole playoff.
Oh, my goodness.
He beat Al Espinoza by 23 strokes in the playoff. Where's the mercy rule?
Yeah, really. I mean, I think once you get to how many strokes?
Beat him by 23.
I mean, I think once you get 15 up.
Today in 1934, Detroit radio executive George Richards pays $7,952.08 to buy the Portsmouth Spartans, moves the team to Detroit, and rebrands it the Lions. I want to know where the 8 cents came from.
Yeah,
$7,952.08. Today in 1938, Superman first appears in DC Action Comics series issue number 1.
So my first wedding, you add up the money and you have the dollar dance. You guys do the dollar dance?
No, I'm aware of what it is, but no, we did not do that.
I think we did that in our first. I don't think we did it in the second. So we came back. It was like $108.25.
Someone gave a quarter?
Thank you. So when the honeymoon was over, it came back and they're like, yeah, we got the video. I'm like, I want all the raw video. They're like, what's your problem? I'm like, I got to find out. Took days. Tracked it down. High school buddy of mine. Unbelievable. You could see reached into the pocket, had it on the right at the top of his thumb. You see the thumb go up. You literally see the thing rotate in the air. Okay, and go right to the bottom of it. Unbelievable.
What a cheap bastard.
Yep.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service formed today in 1940. Big day in 52, David, because the guiding light moved from radio to TV.
Oh, yeah, now we're talking.
1955, the Johnny Carson Show debuts on CBS TV. 1962, Sandy Koufax throws the first of his 4 no-hitters against the Mets, by the way.
Well, this just in, they were 40 and 120 that year. They weren't very good.
1965, Rozelle grants ownership of the Atlanta Falcons to Rankin Smith. He paid a record $8.5 million for the franchise in 1965.
Mark, it was crazy. The Falcons actually wore red back in the day.
1970, Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium opens. The Braves would beat the Reds 8-2. Song of the Year released today in 1979, David. Good Times. The disco song.
I thought it was going to be MacArthur Park or I Will Survive, to be honest. And I'm being very serious. They were both in 79.
By a chick, right?
Chic.
Well,
or Chic.
Was the band, actually.
Sorry, Chic. My bad. I love that song, though. Might play it later tonight.
Big day for Seth today in 82. The New Jersey NHL franchise is officially named the Devils by fan balloting. 1992, Boyz II Men release End of the Road. That would be Song of the Year in 92. 93, C. Webb, picked by the Orlando Magic and then traded to Golden State. Brazil beats Germany in 2002 for the World Cup, their 5th title, the first one held in Asia. 2018, Mbappe becomes the second teenager, Pelé the first, to score twice in a World Cup match, as France would eliminate Argentina. And it was 4 years ago today, on the first day of free agency, that the Brooklyn Nets signed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. We all know how well that worked out. Great Jazz bassist Stanley Clarke is 72 today. Sterling Martin is 66. Mike Tyson is 57. And Michael Phelps is 38. What did I miss, David?
Gone with the Wind was published today in 36. Turned into a movie 3 years later. By the way, Margaret Mitchell attended the premiere and then was killed in a car accident 11 days later. But the book was published today in 36. This was a big deal back in the day. Got to take our word on it. Baryshnikov defects from the USSR in 74. That's pretty. And then like a year later, Martina defected from Czechoslovakia, and they were getting mad at us. It's like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. We're better than you. 34 years ago today, Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So that holds up, I think.
It does.
And when you consider the subject matter, it's both remarkable that it holds up and disturbing.
Got nothing really to add to that, David, other than you're absolutely correct.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to the waters, and I don't even know if this is good. It's more cute than good. But in a study published on Monday found that female bottlenose dolphins change their tone when they address their calves. That's right. Mama dolphins talk baby talk to calf dolphins. Who knew?
What do you think that sounds like? I mean, the squeaky high voice.
There was a time that I could try to do that. Still too deep. And I don't want the higher version. I'm going
to leave it at that.
This is an impression we should not attempt.
Thank you very much. Try in your own cars. We go to Pittsburgh for the bad, where the Pittsburgh Police Department thought a convenience store clerk was selling tobacco to minors. Turns out they weren't selling tobacco to underage customers. They were selling drugs. When they got their cop who looked underage to buy tobacco, they went for a search and found weed, mushrooms, and Vicodin. That's a hell of a convenience store.
That's a WMV right there. Weed, mushrooms, and Vicodin.
Week before I get to Pittsburgh, too, they got to bust that place. Unbelievable.
Hey, listen, let's just hope the air clears for when you get there. Looked like a nuclear event yesterday for the Padres-Pirates game.
Finally, the ugly. We go to suburban Detroit, where a man was arrested after doubling the state's super drunk level. The man blew a .374.
Damn.
Right.
I'm surprised he's alive.
That's almost 5 times the legal limit and twice the state's super drunk level of .17. But the man said it wasn't the drinking that caused him to rear-end another vehicle. He told officers he was texting prior to the crash. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 30th, 2023.
Well, everybody's playing in Major League Baseball. The Marlins are in Atlanta. 7:20, late start. I know, Mark, you're not going to pay attention for the next week and a half. We'll let you know how they did when you come back. Braves are minus 190. And their pitcher is undecided. And they're minus 190. TBD is their starting pitcher, and they're nearly a 2-1 favorite. 10-10 tonight. Rays are in Seattle, which is where the All-Star game is going to be. Mariners are one of those teams like the Mets and the Padres. I mean, remember, Mariners made the playoffs last year. It's like, come on, boys, get your act together. They're 3 games below 500. Apple TV tonight, for those of you that get that sort of thing, the doubleheader. Milwaukee and Pittsburgh early. Arizona and the Angels late. Hey, Ohtani, 9:35. He's not pitching, but,
Houston and Texas for a 3-gamer. That's a big series in that division this weekend.
It is. Astros have moved into second. They're 5 back. Can they pick up some ground? Can they cut it to 4? Can they take 2 of 3, cut it to 4?
Marlins, do they win 0, 1, 2, or 3 this weekend against the Braves?
1.
At least
they
one.
They get a game. Although if they can't beat TBD,
Well, and what I've got on my list, I don't have TBD, but I've got a Soroka pitching for Atlanta, and his ERA is 8.38, and they're still minus 195.
Right. Soroka coming back from lots of injuries over the last 3 years. They're trying to work him back in. I've got undecided.
Okay, I did.
But let's count on
It's
Soroka.
either undecided or an 8.38 ERA, and they're minus 195.
So, golf, the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit. LIVs in Spain. They're at Valderrama on the CW. We got to come up with a funky way to say that. I mean, if we're making fun of Peacock. Got to make fun of the CW.
Now, I don't know if that's even necessary. The CW has made enough fun of themselves over the years that we don't really have to join in.
Okay. So, and the Senior Open, for those that are interested. The mechanic, the world's most interesting man, Miguel Angel Jimenez, is in contention once again. He has not won that. He's finished in the top 3 twice, but he has not won it.
And that's a little West Coast U.S. Senior Open. We'll get that into the evening hours. That was going late last night.
Oh, boy. Nothing. Wimbledon's next week. You're going to miss the first week of Wimbledon.
Okay.
Just saying, it's you went, you loved it. You love Wimbledon.
I do. I don't have the same love of tennis that I once did.
Is it because besides Djokovic, you really don't know or are fond of anyone else?
No, because the number one, there's a good player.
Alcaraz.
Alcaraz. I can spell his name. I can't say it. But the women's side, not what with losing Serena. They've got to grab me.
By the way,
one doesn't usually do that.
Did you see 32-year-old Caroline Wozniacki unretired yesterday?
Yes, had her kids, and now she wants to come back and play tennis.
Yep, married the former basketball player David Lee, had 2 kids. She wants to pull Kim Clijsters, who did that, came back, won some majors.
Hold up. Wozniak is married to David Lee?
You didn't know that? She was engaged. She was engaged to Rory. Rory cheated on her with the woman he's currently married to. That's who Rory woke up with the day he nearly overslept the final round of the Ryder Cup. And Wozniacki had a great line, by the way, when he broke up with her, and he broke up with her via text. When he broke up with her, she said, "Well, now I can finally wear heels again because he's short."
Oh my goodness.
That funny.
See, that's better than any royal talk that you've got. I'm sorry. That is drama. That's drama right there.
So Wozniacki's very good friends with Serena.
Wow.
And she had dinner with Serena. She said, I've been hitting the ball and this, that, and the other thing. And Serena's like, well, I didn't win a Grand Slam after coming back, but I made 5 finals. You can do it. And you're younger than me. So she's going to give it a shot.
And then the other one, a couple days ago, I don't think you might have mentioned the starting five. Simona Biles coming back to play or to compete in the U.S. Classic in gymnastics here in a month.
Yeah.
Her wife doing cartwheels, literally.
So we'll see. Last time we saw her, she had the twisties and couldn't compete. Worth a darn. So she got married and took some time for herself, and now she wants to come back and compete.
Everybody be safe this weekend when you're all blowing things up in and around your neighborhoods. Do it with as much caution as is humanly possible.
Try not to have the kids in the front row when you're sitting outside on your lawn for the fireworks. Just have them in the back. Miller and Moulton, take care of yourselves.
Ladies and gentlemen,